Ashley Klein. Our touch officials are Casey Badger and Drew Altram, with Chris Bucky Butler in the bunker. That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Kick-off here for Newcastle, and the Roosters to receive, running north to south, left to right of your radio dial. Your tip, Dean Hallertau?
I'm going to go the upset of the night.
Okay, who do you like, Michael Carianis?
The Roosters.
Okay, I'll say Roosters here at home, but I'm looking forward to a great game here. Sunny Sunday conditions here at the Sydney Footy Stadium. And the Roosters to have first use, receiving Newcastle's kickoff. Great, you can join us across ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and indeed via ABC Listen for this massive Sunday of footy. Roosters v Knights. This is more suspense here. It wasn't just the Roosters keeping us waiting, it's the TV broadcast as well. Here we go on this Sunday afternoon. And the Knights kick off, and Cherry Evans catches the kick-off, feeds it back to Nafahu White, the first hit up of the game. And he stopped 15 out, 10 in from the western side. So inside the first seconds here at the Sydney Footy Stadium, Cherry Evans, dummy half, finds the Mongoni Tawaze. Plus one tackle there, dragged down by Mooney and also Fletcher Hunt. 35 out here. A strong start to the game now. Victor Radley gains a quick 10, still 6 short of the halfway. Play it there for dummy half Robson, comes short side right here to Siwa Wong, up inside Newcastle territory. Play it 40 out, 20 in western side, couple of plays left. Robson across to Radley, back on the inside now for Collins, straightening run there to Crossland and also Safidi, and he'll play it 35 out centre field. Last play, Robson finds Cherry Evans, up goes the kick to end the set, and waiting back there at fullback, Fletcher Sharp brings it down for the Newcastle Knights. They'll start their first hit of the game, 15 out from their own line inside these first 60 seconds in Hallertau.
Yeah, good start from the Roosters. Very, very fast in terms of their ruck speed, and they got well downfield. Enabled DJI Evans to put up an attacking kick, so immediately on the back foot, the Newcastle Knights.
So Newcastle here will go right side of the field. Crossland dummy half. Across now for Jermaine McEwen. And he's tackled in the bright sunshine on the eastern side of the ground, 30 out from his own line. Back on the inside it comes now to Trey Mooney, as Croker was playing the line as well. Mooney will play it now Crossland. Line side right. The first kick of the game from Dylan Brown goes down towards the chest of James Tedesco. Roosters go back on the attack. 30 out from their own line, and Teddy is dragged down. 30 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Inside these first 90 seconds, this is NRL Sunday on ABC Sport with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Michael Carianis down to MC shortly, as Tupou is now brought to ground 40 out centre field. Play it there for Robson. Looks to his right now for Lindsay Collins. He's tackled by Fletcher Hunt, and also in there was Manu Leleua, metre short of the halfway. Fired back to Tedesco. He gains 10 more here before he's wrapped up by Hunt and Crossland. Now we'll play it 40 out. Robson goes from dummy half, shares it with Cherry Evans. He makes the break on the inside to Tedesco, ran straight into Fletcher Sharp. Pass back wide here for Siwa Wong, and he can steamroll his way through Sharp and plant the ball down in the corner. And the Roosters strike first after 2.5 minutes at the Sydney Football Stadium. 4-0 Roosters, kick to come. Siwa Wong, the try scorer for the home side.
Yeah, well, I mentioned how fast the first set was from the Roosters. They upped the tempo on that set there, and it was really good recognition around the quick play the ball from Railu. He jumps out down the short side, catches the retreating defenders of the Newcastle Knights, and Cherry Evans does a great job to keep the arm free as the contact comes. Finds his fullback on the inside. James Tedesco breaks a couple of tackles, and then there's a big man to find with only a few minutes to go, and Siwa Wong, who puts it down to open up the account for the Roosters.
Scored the winning try last time these sides met, round 15 last year. He scores the first try this afternoon. Touchline we go, Michael Carianis.
Yeah, that's the positive signs for the Roosters, where they're three big name players. You look at Reece Robson, Daly, Cherry Evans into James Tedesco combining before Siwa Wong crossed for that try. But outstanding passage of play there from the Sydney Roosters.
And we'll see the kick from Sam Walker. Just waiting for the footy. He's got the tee in his hand. Waiting for a spare footy to come onto the ground here. Sam Walker will take his kick from 23 metres out and 10 metres in from the western side. 0467 920 222 is the SMS number. Amazing Ali in Appin. Nice to hear from you, Amazing Ali. Looking forward to the game with great commentary going for the Roosters. Icarus says, afternoon, Spriggsy and crew. Have a great call. Go Chooks and Eels. Yes, indeed. We'll preview Parramatta and Canterbury coming up next with Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis and John Gibbs. After our first thought earlier today was John Gibbs. That was today's theme. Here is Sam Walker. scored a try and kicked 5 out of 6 last week in that win against the Sharks in Perth. To add the extras on the Siwa Wong try, early stages here. Starts it right, swings it back, over it goes. 6-0 Roosters over Newcastle here. 4 minutes played first half, NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Around the grounds in Jersey Flegg, second half. Knights 42 lead the Roosters 10. In the AFL second quarter, North Melbourne 45 leads Richmond 15. A-League first half, Central Coast Mariners 1 leads Auckland FC 0. Keep your text coming, 0467920222. Thank you, Dion, for your text. And David Nara, who is always very succinct with his text, simply says, go Roosters. Thank you, Dave, for sending in your tip as always. So again, the Knights kick off. Cherry Evans again to Nafahu White with that hit up and tackled there by Fletcher Hunt, and also in there Marzu, 22 out from his own line here. Nafahu White will play it. Cherry Evans fires it across, almost lost by Nwangani Tawaze. He regathers and then is met by 3 Newcastle defenders. 30 out from that northern goal line here at the footy stadium. Robson fires the pass across to Lindsay Collins. Origin opponents. Robson waits at dummy half here, 40 out centre field. Back to Tedesco. Shows some pace here. See, well, Wong with a half break with a flick pass out. No one was waiting for it. Nwangani Tawaze comes in the contest with Sandon Smith. The referee, Ashley Klein, said it was the Roosters who knocked on first. So 5 minutes played in the first half. It remains the Sydney Roosters 6 and Newcastle Knights 0 here on ABC Sport.
Yeah, joy down their right-hand side at the moment, the Roosters, and Robson recognising that. I accidentally called him well before, but Robson's got a great sense of where their pace is coming. They're targeting Sandon Smith. Obviously, they're quite familiar with his defensive structures. They're going at him. He's not the biggest guy, and they're sending the big traffic at him.
Scrum feed here on halfway for the Newcastle Knights. So at the base of it, Crossland goes to the right-hand side. Again, they use that right edge, which they've been want to do in this game so far. Inside Roosters territory, Mooney dummies and now stands in the tackle of Nafahu White as Angus Crichton peels off as well. 35 out, 20 in from that far side of the ground. Through hands Croker. Inside ball comes to Manu Leilua, and he's collected by Radley and Robson. 35 out, middle of the park. Still a couple of plays left in the set now as Croker goes out to Dylan Brown. Low pass there at about the knee height there of Dane Gagai, and he's tackled. 25 out from the Roosters line. On that right-hand side now, it comes all the way back centre field to Sandon Smith against his former side, and now he's backing his way into Radley and also Robson. Last play, Knights 23 out centre field. Crossland dummy half, across into Sandon Smith. Puts up the high kick. Nwangani Tawaze will launch there for the Roosters. Didn't bring it down cleanly. It's back here for Newcastle. Ash Klein saying it will be penalty Roosters in amongst all of that. So 6-0 Roosters, 7 going first half. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport.
Yeah, he looked like he ran straight into there, Fletcher Hunt, as he come through. Yeah, he takes Nwangani Tawaze out. That's classic interference, I would say, on that kick chase there. Geez, he gets up high, Nwangani Tawaze, but going to be rightly judged.
So fine touch on the western side and go quickly here through Rob Toyer.
Surrender!
3 Newcastle Knights defenders stop him on that left edge defence for Newcastle. Right-hand side of the park for the Roosters. Here's the try scorer, Siwa Wong. And he's just heaped back there by Jacob Safidi. Play at 40 out now for Robson. On play 3. Radley first receiver. They peel at the left-hand side. Crichton put down a strong Mooney tackle. 7 short of the halfway. McGagai was in there as well. Scooped up and then lost by Reece Robson. Another Sydney Roosters error near the halfway line. So it remains Easts 6, Newcastle 0. 7.5 gone in this first half from ABC Sport. Back to MC on the touchline.
Yeah, just sloppy there from Reece Robson. One hand pick up and then just fumbled it as Dan Gagai gave him a little bit of attention at marker there. But just a little bit of a switch off there from the New South Wales dummy half.
On your MC, Missy on the mount. Greetings for Marvellous Michael, Darling Dean and Festus Brett. Love always your forever fan at the Mount Missy, and cheers for the Knights. Scrum feed, 10 in from the eastern side. Newcastle on halfway, back on the attack here with Mooney. Tackled, plays it now, Crossland, and now Croker. He is collected by Crichton and Collins. That was a dangerous tackle from Lindsay Collins. And I think he said it's on report.
Yeah, I think he's asking the question upstairs as well. Yeah. And he's
straight away, Lindsay Collins, that tackle on Croker. So yeah, he certainly turns him and he comes down head first. So they wasted no time there. Ash Klein booking Lindsay Collins. Penalty Newcastle, and they'll tap here. 15 out from that northern goal line. The Roosters are defending. Through hands, Brown across to Smith, and now Safiti on a straightening run in front of Radley and also Robson. 13 out, dead centre field. Crossland keeps going left-hand side now. Shannon Smith to Manolalawa, and he's almost to within 5 metres deep in that northwestern corner of the Sydney Football Stadium. Dummy half, pitch up. Set restart now for Newcastle. So a full set on the Roosters line as Mooney fends away Nafahu White. Now tackled in there by Collins and Robson. He'll play it. 9 out left-hand side of the sticks. 9 going first half. It's still Roosters 6, Knights 0. Smith across to Brown. Stepping right here on Walker. Shares it with Gagai out wide, and he's collected by Sabalo. It comes back, though, to an explosive run from Fletcher Sharp, and he is tackled. 12 out. 20 in from the eastern side. Crossland dummy half. No look pass to Brown. Keeps going left-hand side. Shannon Smith off here again now. Fletcher Hunt just weaves his way past the Roosters defence and scores a try. Left-hand side of the post, but Newcastle respond. It's Fletcher Hunt from centre scoring their first try of the game. 6-4. Kick to come Newcastle. 10 gone first half. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, we heard from the Knights pre-match saying that they wanted a high-scoring game, and that was the way that they're going to win it. And we see a glimpse there of the attack that they're able to throw. They shape up big time to their left, so it's a full shift, almost as wide as you can get in the field, and a number of lead runs which we see with every team in terms of their structures, but it sucks the outside defence of the Roosters all the way in, so that creates the space on the outside. And then Fletcher Hunt moving out to centres, he gets lots of space, too much pace for Rob Toyer, who's sort of hung up on the lead run himself, and he slices over for the Knights' first try of the day.
Much time ago, Michael Karianis.
Yeah, beautiful pace there from Fletcher Hunt, who's bounced around in positions at the moment, but he got nice early ball and just got on the outside there of Robert Toyer, but nice bit of play there for the Sydney Roosters. For the Newcastle Knights, obviously.
Yes, Shannon Smith, who played for the Roosters, now playing for the Newcastle Knights, line up the kick here. 22 out and 13 metres in from the western side here in the shadows of the western stand here at the Sydney Football Stadium. 0467 920 222. Chris in Forest Lodge. I still don't see what DCE brings to the Roosters. Shannon Smith and Sam Walker were the ideal halves pairing, both young, fast and creative, says Chris. Rutherford Rooster says go the mighty Roosters. Shannon Smith, 47 games in the tricolours, and here he is for Newcastle, making it a 6-all game here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Roosters Knights are 6-all, 11 going first half. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Paul and Wollongong says, hi, Springy Dean and MC. Chooks flew out of the gates at a gazillion miles per hour. Keep it up. It feels that way sometimes. I mean, every game of modern footy just feels so fast. But yeah, the Roosters did strike through Siwa Wong after 2 minutes, and then Fletcher Hunt scoring the responsive try there for Newcastle in the 9th minute. Great to have your company here on this beautiful Sunday in the New South Wales capital, as Tedesco kicks us back off all the way down toward the southern goal line. Brown feeds it back now to Trey Mooney, and he bounced off Nafahu White, and now brought to ground by Collins, who's on report for an incident a short time ago. A dangerous tackle on Croker. Comes across through centre field on play 2 now for the Knights. They're 20 out from their own line at southern end, running towards Newcastle, aptly enough. Here they go with their fullback Fletcher Sharp, and he surrenders there in the tackle of Wong and also Nafahu White. Crossland comes short side left from dummy half to Shannon Smith, and Terry Evans wraps him up as well in concert with Siwa Wong. 35 out Crossland, across now to Jacob Safiti, and he gains a quick 9 or 10 as well. 5 short of the halfway as the hand goes in the air from ref Ashley Klein. The last play Newcastle. Crossland across now to Shannon Smith. His pass bounces out to Jermaine McEwen, who kicks the back row on the last play, high down towards that wing of Tupou, and the veteran winger shares it with his fullback and captain. Tedesco burns the tackle of Croker, and he's slammed down there by Dane Gagai. 25 out centre field here. Roosters on the attack. Walker dummy half. Will share it in close there with Savala. Mooney comes in high on him, and that will be penalty Roosters.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there for the Knights, and it was a decent kick from McEwen, but he's in a bit of trouble at the back there. He followed through that kick and may have got collected by his own teammate there in Dane Gagai as he come down on the James Tedesco tackle. So he's taking a little bit of time. McEwen, the trainer's with him, maybe adjusting to see if he can get back in line.
Penalty count 2-1 the Roosters in this game so so far. Scoreline 6-all. Great to have your company. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Michael Carianis on the touchline. Down to you, MC.
Yeah, slowly just getting back into position now. McEwen, he shrugged off the trainer, but he's still limping, but he takes his place in that defensive line for the Newcastle Knights.
A tap 30 out here as Walker feeds it across through hands Collins and now Tedesco. Crossland and Mooney doing the defensive work there on the Roosters skipper. Robson dummy half across to Cherry Evans. Whips it back on the inside now for Nafahu White. Inside Newcastle's red zone now and 20 in from the western side. Robson comes open side left to Radley. Across to Walker. He was hit big down there by Dylan Brown. But still the Roosters rumble upfield. Play it 13 out with Tedesco. Robson looks left but goes right back to the big man Collins. Runs straight into Crossland. He'll play it now 5 out in front of the posts. Robson here on the second last. Cherry Evans back to Siwa Wong and can't offload there. Siwa Wong has scored the try for the Roosters earlier, the first try of the game. Robson at dummy half, fires it across for Walker. Up goes the crossfield kick for the wing of Tupou. Leaves it back there for Savala, who with ease just runs around in the corner and scores the try. Well, that was far too easy. There was overlap there on that far side. The Roosters had the numbers, and Hugo Savala finishes in the corner for the Roosters' second try this afternoon. 10-6 kick to come Roosters. 14 gone first half. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, Spriggy, they had him for numbers on a number of occasions through that set. They kept going to the right. Robson was taking the options that Daly Cherry Evans was calling, which was where all the fresh defenders were for the Knights, but they never really readjusted. So when that kick went over on the last play, there was plenty of space out there. And I know Dom Young's a big man, but when Daniel Tupou's flying through and you give him a free pass at the ball, there's every chance he'll come down with it and look for another option, which he does. Hugo Savala wrapping around the back to score a very easy try in the corner there for the Roosters.
His first try this year and the 5th of his career, Hugo Savala. Touchline we go, Michael Carianis.
Well, it's a battle of giants on that side of the field. Dom Young, Daniel Tupou, but Daniel got above his former teammate and made that play. And Hugo Savala, he's done a great job filling in at centre of the last couple of weeks, showing his versatility, gets the try.
So, Sam Walker will line up the kick here, 25 metres out and 1 metre in from the eastern side after the Hugo Savala try. Hugo Savala, who turned 24 last week, of course debuted early last year. I mentioned mostly known for his work in the halves, now on the centres for the Sydney Roosters. Speaking of halves, here is their 7th, Sam Walker. 1 from 1 so far this afternoon, this time from the other side of the ground as his previous kick, and up go the flags at the south end of the ground. So it is 12-6, Roosters lead Newcastle here, NRL Sunday on ABC Sport, 15 gone first half.
Yeah, well, the question came from one of our listeners earlier about the halves combination in DC. I thought Hugo Savala and Sam Walker was progressing really well as a combo. Because of Hugo Savala's probably more traditional 6-play and being a really big body who could run well. So there's another thought for the Roosters to carry.
Matt in Kingswood says, I don't understand why the Manly coach was sacked but not the Dragons. Perry says, loving the call. Interested in the team's thoughts on what you think will happen with Shane Flanagan this week leading into Anzac Day clash, question mark. Well, MC mentioned that board meeting to come on Tuesday. There's every chance that maybe something else transpires before then, but we'll certainly keep our ear on the pulse here, and you'll hear it first on ABC Sport. Collins, 25 out centre field here, the run from the Roosters. 12-6 is their lead, 16 gone in this first half at the footy stadium. Wangani Tawaze on that right edge, needs some support, but he's dragged down into the tackle of Fletcher Hunt and Sandon Smith. They're working across centre field now, Tedesco towards the halfway, dumped in there by Mooney, Crossland and Fletcher Hunt. The skipper will play it there for Robson, shares it with Radley. Little step there on the front rower in Safiti, and Radley has claimed now 40 out. Last play Roosters, 12-6 their lead. Robson to the right-hand side now for Walker. Up it goes, it'll land about 15 out there, but who was there? Toya was first, left it behind, and in fact it was knocked on. Either way, it's a changeover for the Knights to go back on the attack. 20 out from their own line, southern end. 16 gone, 24 left in the opening 40 here at Moore Park. 12-6 is the Roosters lead. And Newcastle back on the attack. Shannon Smith comes blindside left, where Francis Manulaleua, I mentioned he's starting for Thomas Canton, who was initially starting for Dylan Lucas. That was the change made before kickoff for the Newcastle Knights. And now Crossland dummy half on play 3. Comes across here now for Fletcher Sharp. Out to that right-hand side. Offloads there to Gagai. And behind Crichton brings down Dane Gagai. 5 short of the halfway. There'll be a set restart now for the Newcastle Knights as Crossland bursts from dummy half. And in fact, it may even be Fletcher Hunt out there. In fact, Fletcher Sharp, I beg your pardon, the fullback who started that play. 40 out from the Roosters line. Brown feeds it across now to Safidi, and he will play at 35 out there for the Newcastle Knights. Crossland dummy half now. Brown tries to gain a quick 7 or 8 metres before Walker gets him. 25 out here. Only play 3 now for the Newcastle Knights attacking the Roosters line. Comes back now to Mooney, received the pass and explodes through the gap. The big man dives next to the post and scores the try. Well, the Newcastle Knights took full advantage of that set restart, and Trey Mooney, the beneficiary of some great passing as well, scores his 3rd try of the season, and Newcastle struck back again. 12-10, kick to come, 18 gone first half.
Yeah, well, again, Sprig, you're spot on with the call on the 6 again. I think it was Angus Crichton that just went for the second effort in the ruck. They get the 6 again immediately on the attack, the Newcastle Knights. But
Croker's pass to Trey Mooney.
Beautiful, yeah, and that's what you want from your lock forward, that ability to ball play. Big man that can carry, but he just gets deep into the line, and on the outside there, Lindsay Collins barely got a fingertip to Trey Mooney. He ran a beautiful tip on, well-timed run, and makes the middle defenders of the Roosters look silly there. The combination between Matt Croker and Trey Mooney.
Look at that touchline, Michael Carianis.
Yeah, great bit of play there between 2 big middles to get that job done, but poor defensively from Lindsay Collins. You touched on it. Hallow barely gets a fingertip on Trey Mooney. He just went on the outside and created the space there between himself and Angus Crichton, and the Knights big man took advantage of it.
Here is Shannon Smith. He's 16 metres out and almost, it's only a slight angle left-hand side of the post. Joel from Newcastle, 100% with that other person that texted in. The Roosters were insane to let go of Shannon Smith. Hugo Savala was also doing a great job and can't get a look in at halfback. Thank you, Joel. Here is Shannon Smith lining up his 2nd conversion attempt of the afternoon. Now, listening from Newcastle, shout out to Dad on his cotton mulcher out west. Mad Roosters fan James. On you, James, and Dad on the cotton mulcher. 16 out here. No real issue for Shannon Smith to level the scores at 12-all at a sunny Sydney football stadium. He does just that. So 2 from 2 for the former Rooster. 19 gone, 21 left here. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Around the grounds, it's just gone full-time Jersey flag. The Knights 48 lead the Roosters 10. Queensland Cup games underway to Savo as well. Western Clydesdales 16 lead Souths Logan Magpies 0. Early stages there in the first half. And North Devils 6 lead Burleigh Bears 0. A-League men's second half. Central Coast Mariners 1 still leads Auckland FC 0. In the AFL it's half-time. North Melbourne 63 leads Richmond at 16. You're with Brett Sprague, Dean Hallertau, Michael Carianis here on the first of our Sunday games. And of course we'll preview the Eels and the Doggies at Western Sydney Stadium up shortly. Brought back from the kickoff by Safidi. Newcastle's acting captain. Pass comes across to Young, who's been quiet in the game so far on that right edge. Dominic Young. He'll play at 25 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Brown goes back, short side right, as Jermaine McEwen tries to make the break. He gets toward the 40. Play it there for Dylan Brown. Across to his fullback, one of the Fletchers there at Sharp this week. First go at fullback this year. Tackled 5 short of the halfway. Crossland dummy half. Back to that short side for Brown and also McEwen. Taken down low by Walker. Up top Nafahu White. Last play, Knights 40 out from the Roosters line. Comes back to Dylan Brown. Up goes a high kick. Tedesco calls for it. It's come off, I think, the boot of Shannon Smith. It's bounced back here. It's 6 again somehow for the Newcastle Knights. Unless it was touched there by Tedesco into the path of the Newcastle Knights. The full set now for the Knights, 30 out. Smith across to Manulaleua, who's now tackled. 20 out, 20 in. Western side here. 12 points all the scoreline at the halfway stage of the opening 40 minutes. Shannon Smith, inside ball now for Croker. To set that last try up for Trey Mooney. Play it now for Crossland. plan. To the right-hand side, Sandon Smith off to Brown. Right side they go again. Fletcher Sharp to Gagai, and Gagai stopped there by Hugo Savala deep in that northeastern corner of the Sydney Football Stadium. McEwen dummy half. Dummies, here goes himself, but Savala gets there in the end in concert with Walker. He'll play it 4 metres shy here for the Newcastle Knights. Gagai, it's last play Newcastle to Brown. Up goes the crossfield kick, and on into Waza. He's beaten this time by Fletcher Hunt, who scores behind the posts. Well, usually you watch Marky gets those ones, but this time Fletcher Hunt soared up in front, came down, scores the try, and the Knights are in front. 16-12, kick to come Newcastle, 18:50 left. It says 18:50 on the. It's come off the. So that last high kick, the previous play, it was off the back of Victor Radley's headgear.
It's called played at by the referee.
So I don't think that was played at. But either way, Newcastle won't care. They get the 4-pointer. The try to Fletcher Hunt, 16-12, kick to come Newcastle.
Yeah, again, a really nice set from Newcastle, shifting the ball both sides of the ruck, going out to their right, and they're really challenging the defence of the Sydney Roosters, moving them around a lot and trying to get at their edges. And on the last play, Dylan Brown gets plenty of time to put the ball exactly where he wants it. No pressure coming from the defence there of the Roosters. And then Fletcher Sharp, what a run through, finds his way. Or is that Hunt? It's Hunt, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've confused myself with it. It's Fletcher Hunt. He comes through on the inside and shows a great leap to get through, grab the ball and score the try.
Sandon Smith is 2 from 2 this afternoon, and again he's only 11 out and slightly left of the posts at the northern end of the ground to make it 18-12 Newcastle's lead. I mentioned the disparity here between the broadcast clock and the game clock in the stadium. Either way, Sandon Smith raises those flags at the northern end of the ground to make it 18-12 Newcastle. MC, this game is becoming a bit of a shootout.
It is, as the Knights anticipated or had hoped for. I'm going to say they got that call right with the 6 again. Victor Radley, while he wasn't trying to catch the ball, but he put himself in a position. He ran towards the ball and took his eyes off it. So that's deemed as played at by the match officials. So they got that one right.
Okay, thanks, MC. 18-12. 18 minutes left in this first half. On ABC Sport, Gavin in Glebe says Sandon Smith, Hugo Savala and Sam Walker were the stars of the Roosters' wins against the Panthers, Rabbitohs and Broncos last year. Yet they let Sandon go for a Manly veteran. I'm not questioning that Terry Evans brings you other things as far as input at the club culturally and all that sort of stuff. He was good last week. Scored a couple of tries, which is not necessarily the currency of his worth, but Young, 20 out, 20 in here for the Newcastle Knights. Now Dane Gagai, speaking of currency and worth, he's keen to go around again next year. Dane Gagai at 35, 36, I think he is. 300 gamer. Rumble up through centre field now with a run from Fletcher Sharp. Now Crossland directs it right-hand side. Brown feeds it back now to Croker, and he tries to get past Crichton and Cherry Evans. 8 metres short of the halfway here. Newcastle last play. 18-12 there, lead on the Roosters. 17 left in this first half. Kick from Brown to end the set. Wangani Tawaze is unmarked this time, and despite Manu Leilua coming in, Wangani Tawaze, he will play at 30 out, and it's going to be a set restart on play 1 here for the Sydney Roosters as they look to get out of their own end. 35 out, it's now Toya who's playing it. Tedesco dummy half. Back here to Daniel Tupou. 40 out centre field. Robson from dummy half across to the left-hand side to Lindsay Collins, and he stands initially in the tackle of Safiti and brought down 5 short of halfway. Robson back to Radley. Straightens his run there into Mooney and Crossland, and he'll now be looking here to play at 40 out. Robson comes back to left-hand side. Walker. Flat ball across to Savala. Run down from behind by Gagai, speaking of him. And now it's played to Tupou. Open side right, they come on the last for the Roosters. Walker sends a kick up in the air as Fletcher Sharp had Tedesco bearing down, and Fletcher Sharp gets the footy. Is he brought down the in-goal? No, it's in the field of play. The Knights will start their next set from on their own goal line southern end. It's they who lead 18-12. Dom Young, speaking of former Roosters, he was there for a year and a half, dragged back there by Collins. On play 2 here, the Knights 18-12 their lead.
Yeah, to use one of Ruan's statements from last night, the Roosters have got their baseball bats because the Knights are coming off their own line, and it's really hard going. Barely out to their 20 with a number of tackles gone.
Already on play 4. Now the early kick will come from crossland. It goes down towards that 20-metre line on the bounce for Tedesco. He opts to hold the footy here despite the support of Ngongani Tawaza, and he's run down by Safidi and also Fletcher Hunt. Dummy half Cherry Evans back to Mark Ngongani Tawaza, and he gains another 9 or 10 metres here. 7 short of halfway on play 2 now for the Roosters. Fed across now again to Rob Toyer this time. He'll play it on halfway. Robson back across now for Radley. Flat ball with Collins bursting by, and he is stopped by McEwen 40 out. Robson goes again now, this time to the right-hand side off the bench for the first run of the game from Nat Butcher. So first interchange made there for the Sydney Roosters as Robson on the last goes left to Walker. Up goes his kick. Dom Young watches it. Oh, it comes off his chest into the path of Radley, who knocks on. So this will be double knock on first one Newcastle, as Ash Klein said there, and it will be a Roosters scrum feed unless they can successfully challenge.
Original kick was on tackle 5.
Disruptor, I think.
On-field ruling was a knock on first by Dom Young. They believe the Rooster player that's competing knocks it on first.
Oh.
So 18-12 it remains here Newcastle's way with 14 minutes left in this first half.
Angus Crichton's the guy coming through there, and he does touch it. It's a good challenge there, I think, from first glance.
Looking at the right hand here of Angus Crichton. That's the right hand of Angus Crichton first, then into the arm of Dom Young. The first knock on is Roosters. Challenge successful.
There you go, which overturns the on-field call. So successful challenge there for the Newcastle Knights. Touch on the go, Michael Carianis.
Yeah, the Knights have made their first change. That try scorer, Trey Mooney, has come from the field. Pasami Sula into the action.
Okay, thanks, MC. And the Knights waste no time here. Resuming 10 out from their own line. Played by Gagai, Crossland, and there is the first carry from Pasami Solo. One-time Moldy All-Star, back after 3 years at the Raiders. That's 17 out. The Roosters hemmed them in that last set of the game. Newcastle hanging on to an 18-12 lead here with 14 minutes left in this first half. Played there by the fullback Fletcher Sharp. Crossland dummy half, now across to Croker. And he's tackled again by Butcher and also Siwa Wong. Crossland keeps going left-hand side. Whip back on the inside from Shannon Smith to Greg Margie, who's been quiet as well on the wing for the Newcastle Knights. Crossland to finish the set, the kick to Shannon Smith. Only Tawaze tracks it back with the flight towards his own goal line, and now Tedesco will flare it across by hand to Daniel Tupou before he's tackled by Pasami Solo. 25 out centre field here for the Sydney Roosters on the attack and trailing 18-12. Try scorers so far, Siwa Wong and Hugo Savala for the home side. Fletcher Hunt, Trey Mooney, Hunt with both of those tries, 2 tries so far in the game for the Newcastle Knights, and Mooney has scored the other. 35 out from their own line here on play 4. It is with the Sydney Roosters and Connor Watson who'll play it now 8 short of halfway. Dummy half Robson feeds it across now again to Spencer Leniu. Tackled 5 inside Knights territory. Last play, a kick from Cherry Evans. Goes high and long down towards Fletcher Sharp. He takes the catch here, dashes away from Sam Walker and Crichton. Now he does surrender there on Crichton, 12 out from that southern goal line.
Yeah, Roosters again really working the ball downfield nicely and get into their edges. That's what's giving them the momentum, so they're able to put up those high kicks, challenge the back 3 for the Newcastle Knights just with some pressure defensively. So Newcastle with a bit more work to do to get out of their own end.
Brown plays it there for Gagai. Now Young tries to burst away from Robson and Crichton there on tackle 3. 30 out from his own line. Fed across the left-hand side. Harrison Graham out there for the Knights. And now the break made here by Manu Leilua. Over halfway. Shares it back out wide. And Fletcher Hunt will score his hat-trick inside the first 28 minutes. Slides in next to the posts. And Hunt, in his new role at centre, has scored his 3rd try. Back-to-back tries now for the Knights, who are 22-12 kick to come.
Really nice play for the Newcastle Knights. I mentioned about coming out of their own end and the pressure that the Roosters were applying with their defence. Well, they get a quick play of the ball now, immediately shift to their left. There's a man at the start of that, I think it's Matt Croker, who's been that ball-playing link middle. He throws a really nice pass, well-timed out the back, and it just gives the Knights lots of space on the edge. And Manu Leilua, he gets out on a really nice line off Sandon Smith, runs hard, unders, gets inside. It's Robert Toyer again who comes up with a clutching tackle right past Daly Cherry Evans, and he had a Fletcher inside, a Fletcher outside. He goes to Hunt, gets the job done there. Newcastle Knights flying from their own end.
He's hunting tries as well. He started at centre 3 times last year. Fletcher Hunt scored tries in each of those games. He scored 3 tries this year before today, and now he's doubled that tally inside the first half an hour of the game. MC on the touchline.
He's such a valuable player to this Newcastle lineup. Plays anywhere in the outside backs, and they just look so fast at the moment, the Newcastle Knights.
They'll soon double the Roosters' score here at the Sydney Football Stadium. 24-12 as Shannon Smith lines up this kick to go 4 out of 4. And it will indeed be 24-12 after that successful conversion. So Newcastle leads the Roosters here. I mentioned that the Roosters had won 8 of their past 9 against the Newcastle Knights, and I think 18 of the last 21. The Knights did beat them last time in Sydney at the Sydney Cricket Ground in round 1 2022. So a few things to consider there, but the Newcastle Knights, after a seesawing sort of first 20 minutes, they've had the better of things in more recent play with still 10:50 left on the clock in this first half. Tim and Lismore says, Spriggy, Dean MC, is the fact that a captain can challenge an admission that referees look Ashcon are not in any identifiable way perfect and they can make mistakes. Yes, essentially. That's why the challenge exists. To account for human error, and no referees will say that they're perfect. So that's why it's there. It's up to you as a team to actually manage your challenges well and not burn them in the first 5 minutes. Here's Gagai, receives a pass from Graham. Now he's tackled 17 out centre field. Graham waits at dummy half. Across now to Pasami Sorlo, and collected there by a 3-man wall of Watson, Sherry Evans and Butcher. Still inside the 30-metre line here, the Newcastle Knights on another strong run from Greg Marju. Roll it back there for Graham. Comes blindside left here as Sandon Smith is collected from behind by Rob Toyer. Now it's last play. Knights who lead 24-12 here at the Sydney Footy Stadium. Last play kick from Brown. Down towards the line to Waze. Takes a 10 out from his own line. And the Tricolours go back on the attack here before he's run down by Fletcher Hunt and also in there Harrison Graham. So Onituaze will play it there for Cherry Evans across to Rob Toyer, and also Safiti bounced off him. On play 2 here for the Roosters, DCE directs it left-hand side now through Walker and Tupou. He won't get a chance to offload here, the veteran winger, so he'll play it 37 out from his own line. Robson now across it, and Nat Butcher takes on Graham and Crossland, and coming in low, third man in is Pasami Sorlo. Metre short of the halfway with a couple of tackles left. This set the Roosters. Walker peels it left now to Desco, and now Savala put it back here. Tupou. There was the wrong shot of Dom Young. Feeds it back now to Walker with a fleet pass. Walker runs into a dead end. Swings it all the way back now for Crichton, 20 out. And he shares it with Tedesco. Fends off Tennant Smith. Can they switch left to right here? It is with now Spencer Leniu. Takes on 1-2. Now he's collected by Marzu. He'll play it 5 out. Last play Roosters. Now on that right-hand side of the field. Crossfield kick comes from Cherry Evans. And leaping through the air. Tupou from behind on Dominic Young again. It'll come here. Ash Klein saying it was knocked on by Newcastle, and it will be a Roosters scrum attacking that southern goal line. So a couple of times in that set we saw Tupou the better of Dom Young, and as far as position's concerned, Dean, 8.5 left in this half. It's 24, Newcastle 24, the Sydney Roosters 12.
Yeah, really slick movement down the left side, the Roosters, to get that breakaway initially. It was a nice one-handed offload from Savala around the corner to find Tupou, but they go into hot potato straight away. The Roosters almost come up with points on the far side of the field, but they get back into it and get the repeat.
Scrum feed here, 10 out for the Roosters as they come away through that man Robson. Play it metre short of the southern line, 6 more, so a set restart Roosters. Watson darts there on Crossland and also Pasami Sorlo, and Connor Watson will play it now. 6 out right-hand side of the uprights. 24-12 is Newcastle's lead here after 3 tries to Fletcher Hunt already inside the first half hour. And now Angus Crichton on a jinking run, almost there as well. Tackled underneath the black dot by Safiti. Robson across to Watson, and now to Cherry Evans on that right-hand side. dangerous. He'll come back on the inside of the field now for Siwa Wong. He scored the first try of the game, and he stands in the tackle of Manu Leilua. Play it now 5 out, right-hand side of the uprights. Walker across now to Cherry Evans, through hands to Crichton, and 3 Newcastle Knights stop him. 5 out left-hand side of the post. Robson waits at dummy half, dashes away now, shares it with Walker. Cut out ball away across, but only to Wise. They do the rest, Marky Mark. No, he can't finish. Sent the flick pass as he was headed towards the touching goal line, and it was just battered dead by the Newcastle Knights in the end. So 24-12 is their lead. 7 left in this first half. Touch on to go, Michael Carianis.
Yeah, some great defensive work there. First, Dylan Brown on Angus Crichton on that far side of the field. One-on-one tackle where he thought Angus Crichton might have been able to barge his way over. Then Greg Marzu turned and chased. It was a beautiful pass from Sam Walker. It was wasn't his traditional Harbour Bridge pass because it was a bit flatter, but it was a beautiful ball. Mark Nawanga-Nitawase looked like he was about to score, but Greg Marzu did an outstanding job to stop him. So 2 big moments from the Newcastle Knights.
The Roosters, in fact, batted it dead. So it will be a scrum feed here for they knocked on just before the in-goal area, in fact. So it will be Newcastle scrum. And now on play 2, it's Harrison Graham setting up a dummy half. But I see Hopwood out there as well. Cody Hopwood's out there for the Newcastle Knights. So they've used a few of those players off the bench already. And now Brown tries to put McEwen through a gap. 35 out. Brown goes back open side left to Harrison Graham. On halfway where he's met by Butcher. 20 in from the eastern side. 6 minutes left in this first half on ABC Sport. It's the Newcastle Knights 24, Sydney Roosters 12. Goes the last play kick onto the chest of Daniel Tupou. And the home side's back on the attack here with Tedesco. And penalty here going the Roosters' way.
High tackle.
Says Rap Ash Klein. He was taken high there, Tedesco, by it was Jermaine McEwen out there on that far side. Penalty count in the game so far is now 3-1 the Roosters' way, and we've had 2 ruck infringements each additionally. Earlier, Lindsay Collins on report for a dangerous tackle on Matt Croker. Roosters tap on halfway here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Bright sunny conditions. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Michael Carianis for the first of our 2 Sunday games. We'll preview the Eels and Bulldogs up shortly with Maury and the team. And now Siwa Wong stands in the tackle of Smith and Manu Leilua. Dummy half Robson on tackle 3. Across now again to Watson. Left-hand side with Tedesco, and he bounced off one Bing style Maury, and he's slung down there by Cody Hopwood. Play at 15 out, 20 in from the eastern side. They're going to set restart here as Robson across to Walker, and now Walker on that first play is stopped 5 metres shy of Newcastle's line at southern end. Robson waits at dummy half here with 4:45 on the clock. Across here, open side right to Savala. He scored a try earlier as well. Watson with a dash here. He's collared by Gagai. 11 out now. Robson fires it across now to Savala, and now Cherry Evans holds the footy and draws the contact in there of Pasami Solo and Phoenix Crossland. Play it there for Robson. Inside 10, southern end. Savala to Tedesco. Off here to Toyer, and now to Moni Tawaze. This time can he finish off? Fletcher Hunt tackled him, but he got the footy down just to Moni Tawaze. He makes it look so easy sometimes, and didn't the Sydney Roosters need that before half-time? Dean Hallertau, 24-16, kick to come.
Yeah, very important point scored there by the Roosters. And again, the Newcastle Knights are put under an enormous amount of pressure defensively, and you felt it was only a matter of time before they cracked. I thought they actually had good numbers down the short side. I think Sanders Smith gets caught up on the lead, which makes the outside defenders a little bit uneasy. So Greg Marzu comes in to try and shut things. Oh, looks to be a foot on the line here.
So he makes it look easy. This will not be so easy here, because we can see straight away on the replay that his foot is on the line, and this will be not a try to Mark Normani Tawaze. An MC on the touchline.
Yeah, it's no try there. Clearly, his foot just slid out, and I was with you boys. I just thought he made it look all too easy. But again, the desperation work from the Newcastle Knights. Fletcher Sharp there. Sorry, I'm lost as you. One of the Fletchers, great try-saving effort there to prevent that try.
I think it was Fletcher Hunt, actually.
Right.
So he scored 3 tries and saved one there from Normani Tawaze. So put a line through that, and it remains Newcastle 24, Newcastle 12 with 3:45 40 left in this first half. 0467920222. Brett from Newey says, loving the call. Aren't both teams the same tricolours, not just the Roosters? I suppose that's right. Newcastle were in their predominantly white strip today. Same colours, red and blue. In addition to that, Ruben from Brizzy says, afternoon fellas, enjoying the call. It's a Fletcher fest. Sure is. Although, yeah, no Fletcher Baker, as we've sort of come to expect from the Roosters as well. Harrison Graham goes across here to Jermaine McEwen, and he'll play it 5 short of the halfway. 3 minutes left in this first half here. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Michael Carianis. As I mentioned, we'll get to Maury, Louis and Gibbsy to preview Parramatta and Canterbury up next to close off round 7. Brown with his high kick to end the set. Tedesco launches for it centre field, brings it down 20 out. Mark from Morayfield says the Knights don't seem to be missing their big stars and are on track to roast the Chooks. Now, so far so good for Justin Holbrook's men as Normally Tawaze brings it across here for the Roosters. Can they get some points here? As again, Fletcher Hunt is everywhere tackling Normally Tawaze. Cherry Evans dummy half across to Rob Toyer. And he's claimed now 40 out, 20 in Western side with 2:20 left. Long pass across now for Watson to Walker. They strip those Knights for numbers on that right edge defence. It's come to Tupou. Back now to Walker. Back to Nat Butcher. And he's still on halfway here for the Sydney Roosters. And this will be still a couple of plays left in the set. Sent wide from Robson across to Walker. Pass nowhere. Pounced on by Manu Leilua. So Newcastle wins a free footy here on halfway. And a full set to attack the Roosters line as we approach half-time. 24-12 is the Knights' lead. Comes across here again to from Gagai to Young, and Young's just popped it up. He wasn't ready for that pass. It was McEwen to Gagai, then Dom Young. This wasn't ready for it, and it goes out over the eastern touchline here. It will be a Roosters ball and a reprieve for the home side shop, who still trail by those 24 points to 12.
Yeah, it was brewing out that side. There was space in front of Dominic Young, and we know how quick he is. Unfortunately, the pass was a little bit behind him, so he juggles it and spills it over the sideline. And Newcastle Knights here, they miss a real opportunity.
So the Roosters rumble upfield inside the Newcastle Knights half. 35 out is where Leniu will be tackled and plays it now. Robson across, Walker, and now Savala pinned by Dane Gagai. 20 out, 5 in from the eastern side. 70 seconds left before half-time here at the Sydney Footy Stadium. Comes across to Watson. Shares it now with Nat Butcher. Almost the break there, but Manu Leilua and Graham all over him. Robson, little pump here to the right-hand side for Cherry Evans. Tedesco burst through, but he was stopped desperately down there by Pasami Solo. Last play, Roosters. Robson across to Siwa Wong, hitting and spinning and not quite scoring. Great work again on defence. Is that Fletcher Hunt again?
I think he's underneath
all of that. That is just extraordinary. So he has been everywhere for the Newcastle Knights and scored 3 tries at centre. And now the Knights will go back on the attack in these dying seconds with 34 seconds on the clock here at the football stadium. 24-12 the Newcastle lead after the Roosters and the Knights sort of traded those early couple of tries each. But then 3 straight for Mooney, Hunt for the Newcastle Knights as Gagai has it. 13 out, still a long way from home with 10 seconds left to the halftime break. Fed across here from Brown, and then McEwen sort of ran back into the back of his own teammate there, Dylan Brown. McEwen was keen for it. Rolls it back now for Fletcher Sharp on the halftime hooter. Newcastle 24, the Sydney Roosters 12. As I mentioned, the try scorers, Siwa Wong scored the first of the game in the second minute. Fletcher Hunt responded for the first of his 3 tries in the 9th minute. Hugo Savala went into the corner afterwards for the Roosters, as I mentioned. And from that point, from the 17-minute mark onwards with Mooney, and then Fletcher Hunt in the 20th and 27th for his 3 tries. Sandon Smith is 4 out of 4. Sam Walker 2 out of 2. 24-12 our scoreline here in Newcastle's favour. Dean Hallertau, your thoughts on the opening 40?
Yeah, well, Newcastle are doing what they've done a lot this year when they've had success, and that's that they get to their game plan. You can see them work through their structures really competently. Like, they don't try and push anything. They have spots that they like to get to. They throw passes in the line, so there's not some plays that aren't without risk, but they execute really well, and their completion rate in the first half, if I've got my stats update, 94% is huge. So if you're executing, sticking to your game plan, and you're completing that high, there's a good chance you're going to be competitive, and if not ahead of the scoreboard, which is where they're at. And yeah, been really impressive. Fletcher Hunt's the obvious one, and Michael Carianis mentioned what he brings to the team in terms of versatility, but those efforts defensively is probably what they all see every week that he brings. He can cap them off the tries and the rest of it, but a really outstanding performance from him in the first half. And I think the Roosters will be scratching their heads with, they started so strong. Yeah. They were able to generate heaps of metres through their yardage sets, but they weren't able to cap with tries. So again, a nod to the scramble defence there of Newcastle.
Penalty count 3-1 Roosters. Set restarts 3-2 the Roosters. Lindsay Collins on report for a dangerous tackle in that first half on Matt Croker. Michael Carianis, your thoughts from down there on the touchline?
Outstanding opening 40 minutes from the Newcastle Knights, and they started slow with the Roosters laying on the first try, but since then they've been outstanding. I've been so impressed by not only with the ball but defensively, the defensive efforts, and they're just turning up for each other. This is a really good side to watch, the Newcastle Knights.
Keep your text coming, 0467 920 222. Jordan in Toowoomba says, looks like the Western Clydesdales might win their first game in about a year, leading 24-0 over South Logan Magpies. Yeah, I mentioned that scoreline there, which is now halftime 24-6 in the Queensland Cup. First half, Burleigh Bears 12, North Devils 6. AFL third quarter, North Melbourne 69 leads Richmond 24. Super Netball halftime, West Coast Beaver 33, lead the Melbourne Mavericks 21. By the way, in the A-League men, halftime there, Central Coast Mariners 1, Auckland FC 0. Big news for Newcastle sports fans. If the Mariners do beat Auckland, the Newcastle Jets will secure their first ever Premier's plate. So, obviously they're big rivals, the Jets and the Mariners, but Jets fans cheering for a Mariners win there to secure the Newcastle Jets A-League men Premier's plate. So there you go. We'll preview the Eels and the Dogs coming up next at Western Sydney Stadium. 24-12 the scoreline here. Newcastle leads the Roosters. Back after more from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Former SAS soldier Ben Smith has criticised police over his arrest at Sydney Airport earlier this month, saying it was sensationalist and an unnecessary spectacle. Liz Gwynn has more.
The 47-year-old spoke publicly for the first time on the Gold Coast since he was released on bail from a Sydney prison. The war veteran read a prepared statement denying the accusations against him.
I will be taking this opportunity to finally clear my name.
He also criticised police over his arrest earlier this month and called for privacy for his family. Mr. Robert Smith was charged with 5 counts of the war crime of murder, alleged to have taken place in Afghanistan between 2009 and 2012.
The Speaker of Iran's Parliament, Mohammad Bagir Kalabaf, says Iranian forces are in full control of the Strait of Hormuz. He says passage through the vital waterway will remain restricted unless the US removes its blockade of Iranian ports. The renewed closure of the strait adds further pressure to oil markets and the global economy. Mr. Kalabaf says they have proven Iran's military can keep the strait closed.
The strait is under the control of the Islamic Republic. Do you remember that they wanted to send minesweepers to clear the mines? Well, we stood firm against it and confronted them. We considered this a violation of the ceasefire, and we said that if you take this action, we will strike. And they retreated.
The Iranian-backed Hezbollah militant group is denying any involvement in an attack on UN forces in Lebanon, which has left a French soldier dead. 3 other soldiers were wounded by a small arms fire as they were clearing a road. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has condemned the attack, saying all parties must respect the current ceasefire in Lebanon. The French Deputy Minister of the Armed Forces, Alice Rufo, says there was no reason for the attack on the peacekeepers.
There is no justification when peacekeeping soldiers are targeted. It is something that must be condemned, full stop. There are simply forces that want violence and chaos, and others that want to build peace and stability.
Pope Leo says he has no interest in debating US President Donald Trump about the war against Iran. He's told reporters on a tour of Africa that comments he made about the world being ravaged by a handful of tyrants were written long before Mr. Trump's criticism of him. Later, the pontiff arrived in Angola, where he urged the country's leaders not to be afraid of political dissent.
Say, en primer lugar, Angola can grow greatly if, above all, you who hold authority in the country believe in the diversity of its wealth. Do not stifle the visions of the young and the dreams of the elderly, and know how to manage conflicts by transforming them into paths of renewal.
North Korea has launched multiple ballistic missiles into the sea as Pyongyang ramps up weapons testing. South Korea says the country's bolstered its surveillance posture and is sharing information with allies. It's the 7th ballistic missile launched by the North this year. The condition of a young man who was badly injured after a car slammed into a crowd outside of a fan convention at the Melbourne Showgrounds has improved. Yvette Gray reports.
A man aged in his 20s has died and another was critically injured after they were hit by a car that veered across Langs Road, mounted a curb and was driven 120 metres down a footpath. The men had just left the Supernova Comic Con event in Ascot Vale when they were struck. The man who survived was taken to the Royal Melbourne Hospital. He's now listed as being in a stable condition. A 33-year-old male driver was arrested at the scene and is expected to be formally interviewed today. Police are working to determine whether or not it was a deliberate act and if drugs, alcohol or speed were involved. The fan convention reopened its doors today and held a minute's silence to mark the tragedy.
In the AFL, Carlton CEO Graham Wright says the circumstances surrounding Elijah Hollins are unprecedented and complex amid questions about the decision for him to play against Collingwood on Thursday night. Hollins appeared to exhibit erratic behaviour during the game, with the club later stating the 23-year-old suffered a mental health episode. Wright admits the club was aware during the game that Hollins was struggling, but did not comment on why he wasn't withdrawn from the contest earlier.
We're looking into all that right now, and obviously we're part of that process has started, and obviously started on Friday or Thursday night after the game, and we're working through that now.
And in US basketball, the Knicks have won their opening game of the NBA playoff series against Atlanta, beating the Hawks by 11 points in New York City. You're now up to date with the very latest from ABC News.
Okay, ready?
Little listeners have a new space to get all their favourite podcasts, like exclusive new episodes of Bluey Listen Along.
Let's dance to celebrate!
Create a kids profile today by heading to the Kids tab on the ABC Listen app.
ABC sports coverage of the 2026 NRL Premiership.
Now we'll play it 40 out. Robson goes from dummy half, shares it with Cherry Evans. He makes the break on the inside to Tedesco, runs straight into Fletcher Sharp. Pass back wide here for Siwa Wong, and he can steamroll his way through Sharp and plant the ball down in the corner. And the Roosters strike first. Crossland dummy half, no look past to Brown. Keeps going left-hand side. Sandon Smith off here again now. Fletcher Hunt just weaves his way past the Roosters defence and scores a try. Left-hand side of the post, but Newcastle respond. It's Fletcher Hunt. Up goes the crossfield kick for the wing of Tupou. Leaves it back there for Savala, who with ease just runs around in the corner and scores the try. Well, that was far too easy. There was overlap there on that far side. The Roosters had the numbers, and Hugo Savala finishes in the corner. Comes back now to Mooney, received the pass, and explodes through the gap. The big man dives next to the post and scores the try. Well, the Newcastle Knights took full advantage of that set restart, and Trey Mooney, the beneficiary of some great passing as well, scores his third try of the season. He'll play it 4 metres shy here for the Newcastle Knights. Gagites, last play Newcastle to Brown. Up goes the crossfield kick, and on into Waza. He's beaten this time by Fletcher Hunt, who scores behind the post. 30 out from his own line. Fed across the left-hand side. Harrison Graham out there for the Knights, and now the break made here by Manu Leilaiua. Over halfway, shares it back out wide, and Fletcher Hunt will score his hat-trick inside the first 28 minutes.
ABC sports coverage of the 2026 NRL Premiership.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio
And ABC Listen.
Half-time at the Sydney Football Stadium, where the Newcastle Knights lead the Sydney Roosters 24 points to 12. Up next, off to Western Sydney Stadium for Parramatta and Canterbury, which is where we again find Andrew Moore. Hello, Jibs.
Spriggy 16th against 8th. The home team Parramatta coming second last against the Bulldogs. The team news is through. Sean Russell out for Parramatta. The setter replaced by Araz Navner, who will come in jersey number 19. Lock Dylan Walker to the bench. Jack de Bellin to start in his place. First time that's happened for a while. Lorenzo Talatena comes onto the bench as well for the Parramatta Eels. For Canterbury Bankstown, one change. Janari Tuala is out, and Josh Curran will return to the team in the centres in jersey number 21. Leo Thompson to make his first appearance there for Canterbury Bankstown, in for the injured Max King. Referee will be Liam Stretch Kennedy with Grant Atkins in the bunker. And Luke Lewis, good afternoon to you once again. Bulldogs understandably hot favourites for this one.
Yeah, good afternoon, boys. Absolutely. You'd think with the way that the Bulldogs played last week, they're going to rock up here today with full of confidence after seeing what Parramatta dished up to the Gold Coast Titans. And I think if they start fast, it's going to be a scary start for Parramatta if they don't stand up and, sort of take it to the doggies. They can't afford to start slow today. I do believe that the Dogs, if they get an early start like I'm thinking, they'll put a number on Parramatta this afternoon.
John Gibbs, welcome back to you. Gibbs, in that Parramatta team, you saw them from the touchline last Sunday against Gold Coast. They were so bad. So many different faces because of injury, but their attitude has to improve dramatically, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly their defence has been woeful, and there might be reasons why you can't attack, but you've got to say defence is associated with attitude. So they want to come here with a good attitude, and Parramatta have got the 86, the last premiership side to win for Parramatta in 1986. All of the legends will be here, so hopefully they can derive some inspiration from that and put up a good performance. But I would think if Canterbury throw the ball around, come up with some offloads, that's what the Titans did last week. They were rattled. Defensively, they were rattled.
And Canterbury last start managed to score 30 against Penrith. And I think what impressed me most about that, Louis, was the fact they had that 16-0 lead. Penrith got back to 16-all, and you thought Penrith, they're going to crush them from here. But they didn't let that happen, the Bulldogs.
No, they didn't. They knew they weren't going to have everything go their way, and they held in there. They took their opportunities when they got it. But for me, it was their defence. I just thought their attitude in defence, they attacked with it. And that's what gave them their opportunities. It forced some errors. It made good players, or the best players in the game, make bad decisions. And I think if they can keep that type of pressure with their defence against this Parramatta side, there'll be a lot more mistakes coming, and they'll get a lot more opportunity with the ball in hand. So, look, I like the way they played last week. My thing is, can they back it up? It's a hard thing to do. It's easy to say we're going to do that again, but actually coming out and doing it's a lot harder. But I do believe they're two halves at Parramatta here in Moses and Volkman are going to get a lot of traffic coming their way, because that's where Parramatta got torn apart last week. They were getting their halves were making wrong decisions, and it was creating the overlap out wide. So I reckon that's where Preston and Billy Army will be punching all afternoon this afternoon.
I agree with those sentiments, Louis. It's for some reason Canterbury, they knew it was a big game against Penrith, and they started with so much energy. They were so enthusiastic from the start that it sort of left Penrith at the gate. So if they come out with that same attitude, they'll be very hard to beat.
To be fair,
not hard to beat. They'll be hard pressed not to put on a big score.
To be fair, that's what Canterbury's been renowned for over the last 2 and a bit years. Sure. They always come out.
But there were blokes last week. That Billy Army was fantastic. Jamin Salmon had an unbelievable game, and we know that the problems Parramatta has, and they've lost so many players, but in particular edge forwards and middles. Yeah. They're really struggling.
All right, who are you tipping? Louis, Canterbury?
Yeah, I'll go Bulldogs here. I can't see them losing.
Jonty?
Dogs comfortably.
Yeah, it's hard not to see that, but we shall find out, because there are upsets all over the place, including potentially one where you are, Spriggy. Here, the sun's shining. It's a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. Crowd just starting to build. The gates haven't been open for all that long for a great rivalry clash between the Eels and Bulldogs.
Great stuff. Thank you, Maury, Louis and Gibbsy. We'll get back to you within this next hour for kickoff there. The Newcastle Knights have made their way out first. So the Roosters are just mere seconds away for this game, 24-12. The Knights lead at the half, as Andrew mentioned. By the way, tomorrow, a special date in Australian Rugby League history, as you may be aware. It's the birthday of Aussie Rugby League, April 20, 1908, the first round of games. And the Roosters have been keen to highlight this because of Daily Messenger, of course, playing for Eastern Suburbs and against Newtown. But worth mentioning too that Newcastle also had a foundation club in that first year or first couple of years of the competition. But it is Australian Rugby League's birthday tomorrow. There you go.
Was that at Birchgrove?
Yes, and they had games at Wentworth Park as well. And so it was all on the same day. But those foundation clubs in action. Get to MC very shortly here with the second second half kickoff just seconds away. Newcastle 24 leads the Sydney Roosters 12, and James Tedesco kicks us back off for this second half at the football stadium. Pasami Saulo hits it up there off Spencer Leniu, and also in there Butcher and Watson, all those players off the bench. They were the three used in that first half. Meanwhile, for the Newcastle Knights, they've used Harrison Graham, Pasami Saulo and Cody Hopwood. So 14, 15, 16 for both sides so far in this game. There is Cody Hopwood. I always give a shout out to the West Maitland Wallaroos, his junior club. Debuted late last year. Play at 25 out on that far side of the ground. Back inside now for Francis Manu Leilua. Can Newcastle keep this lead and keep control of the game? Dummy half, Harrison Graham. Back across now for Crossland. He's run down from behind. There he'll play it 15 short of halfway. Graham to the right-hand side. The kick from Brown to close the set. As Tedesco parks himself under it. 20 out from his own line. And he's tackled there on the 30-metre line. Not far away from you, Michael Carianis.
Yeah, not a bad set there from the Newcastle Knights to start this second half. And we spoke about at half-time how desperate they were defensively. And that's what they've got to show more of, because you know this Rooster side will come at them at some point.
24-12 the Newcastle lead. Thanks, MC. And jinking run there from Nat Butcher. And he's brought down on halfway here. Plays it to Robson. Back across to Watson. Explosive pace. Almost made the break there, Connor Watson, before McEwen got him. Couldn't offload out any support, though. Robson waits at dummy half. Shares it with Walker, and now Crichton. Goes the right foot step on Brown. Across down towards Walker. They'll switch from left to right, but Butcher offloads back to Cherry Evans. Cut out ball wide here now for Rob Toyer. But he won't get past Fletcher Hunt. No one is at the moment. Play at 25 out here, the Roosters. On the last, the kick from Cherry Evans. High down towards that northern goal line, and Fletcher Sharp was in the in-goal area, and he'll stay there, courtesy of Nat Butcher. So it will be a line drop out Newcastle, who lead 24-12 here. 2.5 played in this second half so far. Brent Sprigg alongside Michael Carianis, and this is Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, I thought he had a bit more time than that Fletcher Sharp with the kick, because it was kind of in between. There wasn't the defenders arriving, the chasers arriving at the same time, but the jump sort of done him in, and he gets trapped.
Short drop out goes about 4 metres, and it's going to bounce here and back into the goal area. So that will be a Roosters ball. 10 out from Newcastle's line. This is their first look at points in this second half. Riley says, listening to the call after a kayak on the Noosa River. Loving the call on my weekend away. Go Knights. On your Riley. Great to hear from people on holidays as well. Spencer Leniu is swallowed up by 4 Newcastle defenders. 10 out from that northern line. Robson dummy half. Shares it with Watson. He darts back on the inside there on Crossland. And he's stopped now. 5 short of the halfway. Of course, the former Newcastle Knight himself, Connor Watson. Robson back to Cherry Evans, and now to Walker. Holds it for a moment. Short pass to Desco. Fends off Dylan Brown. McEwen makes sure of it now. Deep in that northwestern corner of the Sydney Football Stadium, as Savala dummy half across to Walker on tackle 4. Little kick from Walker, and it bounces in the in-goal area. Oh, confusion here for the Newcastle Knights. That's picked up by... Is it Walker in there on the end of his own kick? It ricocheted off the Newcastle defenders, and Walker scores on that far side of the posts. Well, that was just a calamity there for the Newcastle Knights, because Fletcher Sharp had nothing to do with it, and there was a few concerns there as the ball went behind the post. 24-16 kick to come Roosters. Walker's kick was clever off the instep here, trying to set up Nat Butcher. It may have been blocked anyway, and then Sharp and Manu Leilua ran into each other, and as a result the ball just sort of trickled out on a couple of little rolls there for Sam Walker, who scores to the right hand side of the post. So there you go. Thank you very much. And the Roosters do indeed hit back. 24-16. Kick to come for the Sydney Roosters. 4.5 gone in the second half.
Yeah, first little blemish there for Fletcher Sharp. He did run to his own teammate, but he wasn't quite sure of what to do with it, so he kicks it out. And then Harrison Graham was standing there, and he wasn't quite sure himself if he should pick it up, because he was offside, obviously, but probably would have been the better play, as we see a bit of a time off here.
Sam Walker lines up the kick from directly in front. MC on the touchline.
Yeah.
Don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No, it looked like a clear-cut try to mine, and Hal was exactly right. Harrison Graham didn't want to give away a penalty, but he should have just jumped on that ball. It would have prevented a try.
Sam Walker, 2 from 2 this afternoon to convert his own try. And he does make no mistake. 24-18. So back to within 6 points this ball game here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Jane from Nelson Bay says, I'm a Knights fan but missed most of the first half. Thanks to the team, especially Dean, for the thorough summary at half-time. Go the Knights. Go on you, Jane. Spriggy Dean and MC. Perfect afternoon for the footy. Anne's going for the Roosters, and I'm a happy Broncos fan. Loving the call as always. Derek and Anne from the top shed in Howard, Queensland. Thank you. Nice to hear from you. Sam Walker scores a try here. 24-18. This little shootout continues on this dry and sunny Sunday afternoon. Cherry Evans off to Nat Butcher. Takes on Manu Leilua and Pasami Solo. And he's dragged all the way across here. We play at 15 out. Again, Cherry Evans at dummy half. Nwangani Tawaze up that right edge. He goes. Stopped by Harrison Graham. Robson at dummy half here again now as Siwa Wong gains 15, 16, 17. He'll be playing it now 5 short of the halfway. Robson across open side left to Connor Watson. Stepping run there on Harrison Graham. Stopped just inside Newcastle territory. This will be second last now for the Roosters. Tedesco across the left-hand side for Angus Crichton, who became a dad a couple of weeks ago to young Sullivan. Robson at dummy half to Walker. A couple of steps and a kick higher towards Marju on that wing, and the Newcastle Knights will start their next set. 10 metres out, 20 metres in from that eastern side, and it's they who still lead here, 24 points to 18 shot.
Yeah, similar to what we had at the start of the game, with the Roosters really dominating that downward progress from their yardage sets. They're making meters really easy, which is giving them some attacking, kicking opportunities. The Newcastle Knights are starting their sets on the back foot.
25 out from that northern line. Dom Young will play it now. Comes through hands to Brown and now McEwen. And he's collected in there by Savala. 35 out on this western side of the ground. Harrison Graham to Costman. A big hit down there from Spencer Leniu on Cody Hopwood. Newcastle still have it now. 30 out from their own line. Offload comes from Hunt back to Sandon Smith. Bursting away again. Manu Leilua. Run down from behind by Nwangani Tawaze. He's very quick. Always is. 35 out here from that southern line. It's with Dylan Brown on this last play. A run and now kick for the Newcastle Knights. Tupou leaps up uncontested. Brings it down. And the Roosters will settle things down in front of their own goal line southern end. It's the Knights who lead 24 points to 18. 7 minutes played second half. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. It's another strong run from Tedesco. Play at 17 out. Ball comes away at Butcher. He left Manu Leilua behind, but he's tackled by Phoenix Crossland. Robson dummy half shares it with first receiver Watson. Now to Crichton, back to Walker, who spills the awkward pass. The awkward offload coming his way. Roosters error. Newcastle scrum feed. 40 out from that southern line. 7 minutes played second half, as I mentioned, where it's the Knights 24, the Roosters 18. Rooster Felix says, loving the call. Not sure what's happened to Robert Toyer, one of the best defensive centres in the comp. He's been left in the dust 3 times now. G'day Brett Dean and Mighty Michael, thanks for a great call. The Knights are a different team this year.
It's a HIA for Spencer Leniu. He got his head in a bad position on the previous.
Okay, so he'll be sent for an HIA. I hope they can keep it going, says a Knights fan in Colleen, Burpengary, East Queensland. Thank you, Colleen. So I get to your text as the afternoon wears on. Still with 1.5 games of footy, basically. Go around the ground shortly as well. We were sort of on Western Clydesdale's watch if they can get their first win for a while against South Logan in the Queensland Cup. Newcastle scrum taken 20 in from the western side. They bring it across. 40 out from the Roosters, line with Hopwood. Graham at dummy half to Crossland. And to Michael Carianis very shortly is now again Crichton makes the tackle on McEwen. Graham waits at dummy half. Shares it with Crossland. And now Sandon Smith on the inside for Manu Lele. Always had a good game today for the Newcastle Knights starting, which is not a usual thing for him. A set restart now for the Newcastle Knights. So a full set, 25 out from the Roosters line. Hopwood feeds it back now for Crossland, and Sandon Smith tries to put Fletcher Hunt through the gap to score try number 4. He's met by Cherry Evans. 20 out, 20 in, eastern side. Sandon Smith now again across the line with Hopwood. He's stepping into Crichton and Nafahu White. 15 out centre field. Played 2 already here for the Newcastle Knights, and now it's Sandon Smith, dragged down by Siwa Wong. 12 metres shy in that southeastern corner of the ground. Graham to Crossland. I'll shift it left to right. Kick from Dylan Brown, and it was their first Walker on the outside of Fletcher Sharp, and the Roosters will putt on their own goal line here, trailing 24 points to 18. Let's head back to the touchline. Michael Carianis.
Yeah, good kick chase there from the Newcastle Knights. Now, this is probably their best defensive opportunity, or it is their best defensive opportunity of this second half. They've got to make sure they're squeaky clean here.
Yardage set for the Roosters. Ngoni Tawaze tackled 17 out from his own line, southern end. He'll play it eventually on the 20, and now Robson exploded only half, gains a quick 15, and he stands in the tackle of Hopwood as the former Cowboy and Dragon. End of the set here for the Roosters. Kick travels down over the head of Fletcher Sharp. Will take it 5 out from his own line, and have plenty of space open out there for him before Watson and Leniu meet him 15 out from his own line. So half an hour left in the contest. The Newcastle Knights 24, the Sydney Roosters 18 here, NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. There goes Harrison Graham. We'll come back here, penalty.
Yeah, he was never behind to play the ball, Harrison Graham. He gets the offload, and he kind of hesitated. I think he knew that he was offside. The referee, Ashley Klein, was just waiting, I believe, for a call from the touch judge to confirm, and then blows the penalty.
Penalty count 4-1 Roosters. Around the grounds, Queensland Cup, second half, Western Clydesdales 24, South Logan Magpies 14. Ooh. Come on, Clydesdales, can they hang on? Second half, Burleigh Bears 22, North Devils 6, New South Wales Cup first half, Roosters 4, Knights 0. Here the Roosters go in first grade, inside that 10-metre line now through Nafahu White off the back of the penalty. Metre out from Newcastle's line. Robson looks open side left here. Butcher catches at speed now, and he's brought down by Crossland, 5 short of that northern line. Robson again comes back to the right-hand side. Cherry Evans or Sheridan close there for Siwa Wong, and he's claimed here, tackle 3. It's still Newcastle 24, the Sydney Roosters 18. 11 gone, 29 left in the second half. Cherry Evans off to Walker. Catch and they're released to Tedesco. His kick goes in there for Savala. Oh, it bounced awkwardly, but Savala was desperate, reaching and diving, and he scores the try. His second try of the afternoon. It wasn't the neatest bounce or roll for him, but he just launched at that footy, Hugo Savala. And the Roosters scored back-to-back tries and may just level things up here. 24-22, kick to come for the Roosters. 11 gone, second half, Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, all their key players involved here. Daly Cherry Evans gets the first pass. He finds Sam Walker out the back, who then tips on to James Tedesco. They were a retreating edge there of the Newcastle Knights. Had come up a little bit, but I think they'd sort of come in, McEwen had come in to take the lead runner, which opened up space from the outside. Dylan Brown starts backtracking, and that's a no-no when you're coming off your own line. Backtracking creates all sorts of headaches for your outside man, and then James Tedesco recognises the space in behind, gets it on the toe, and then Savala comes through, and he scrambles his way to the ground, but he gets there eventually.
Back to MC on the touchline.
Yeah, he did set crawls his way to the ball there. He lost his footing and then still fought his way through to score that try. Nice bit of work there from James Tedesco, but the Knights were so well disciplined with the footy in the first half, but they haven't been able to do that so far in this second 40.
To have a guy, a fullback and captain, the quality of James Tedesco, to do things like that, that's just a reminder, isn't it? Shot for what the Roosters have at their disposal. Here's Walker, 22 out, 10 in from the western side to add 2 more points on Hugo Savala's try. To lock the scores up again. Walker, there he goes, 4 out of 4, 24 points all here. Sydney Roosters and Newcastle Knights here at the Sydney Football Stadium. 12 gone second half, so plenty of footy still to come. And of course, we're off to Parramatta and Canterbury up next at Western Sydney Stadium. 0467 920 222. The great analysis from Dean, much better at radio than golf. Go the Knights. Oh, that's wrong. You'll have to investigate yourself. There's no name on that one. There never is. Loving the call. Just got to base camp of Mount Kilimanjaro, listing on my handheld. It says John from Oatley. Fantastic. Yeah. We do great things with ABC Listen, our app. Take our footy coverage wherever you go, especially overseas. And here goes Mark Nawamini Tawaze, who caught the kickoff, and now he's claimed 30 out. Cherry Evans will pass it across open side left. On a centre field run now from Siwa Wong. Moves quickly across to Nafahu White on tackle 3. He's brought down in there by Peter Holler. So that's the fourth interchange used, the fourth bench player used for the Newcastle Knights. The former Cowboy, Raider and Dolphin. Peter Holler on his Newcastle Knights debut. So they bring the footy back here, the Knights. And now Fletcher Sharp, 8 short of halfway, takes on Cherry Evans. And he's sandwiched between he and Butcher. He's the Newcastle fullback. 24 points all here, so he forecasts, as Michael Carianis mentioned, a possible shootout between these sides. Certainly been that with a lot of attack at either end. Dummy half Crossland for the Knights. Back to Safiti, and he stands in the tackle of Siwa Wong and Nat Butcher. Plaid 40 out now from the Roosters line. Crossland, a flat ball from dummy half to Shannon Smith. Across to Fletcher, and he's nailed by Normani Tawaze. The ball's come loose. He gets his own back there, Normani Tawaze. He was denied a try thanks to Fletcher Hunt before half-time. And he's just come off the line and just nailed Fletcher Hunt there. And it will be a Roosters scrum feed, 30 out from their own line.
Yeah, fast movement down the left side, and Sandon Smith, he just hangs one up on the sweep line there for Fletcher Hunt. He feels the presence of Nawangani Tawaze coming in straight away. You could see he wanted to get the pass over to Greg Marzio. I feel like the Roosters defence was really covering him behind it to get that or stop that if it got there, but probably just needed to focus on catching the ball first and take that big shot that came.
Around the grounds, AFL, 3/4 time. Off Melbourne 92 leads Richmond 36. Underway at the MCG, Melbourne 1, the Brisbane Lions 0. Great to have you company here. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport with Brett Sprague, Dean Hallertau and Michael Carianis. As Matt Butcher is tackled now just inside Knights territory. 48 metres out from that northern line. Watson gives it across to Nafahu White. And now Brown tackles him in concert with Gagai and also Safiti. This is only play 4, in fact, for the Roosters. So Robson goes himself from dummy half and is held up there by Safiti. Play it now for Watson, 20 out. Off to Walker. Now Cherry Evans. To the right-hand side they go. Tedesco. Numbers out there. Toya. He steps on the inside there of Shannon Smith. And now he's tackled 7 metres shy of that Newcastle line. Dummy half Normani Tawaze. Now to Walker. Cherry Evans on the last here for the home side. Kick goes high and long cross field. Tupou from behind on Young. Oh, it's batted back there by Young, and now Gagai's in the in-goal area. You can hear it there. Knock on from Dom Young. So line drop out Newcastle. It remains the Sydney Roosters 24, the Newcastle Knights 24, and there is, guess what, 24 minutes left in the game. Michael Carianis on the touchline.
Yeah, Spring, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that the Knights had already used their 4 replacement players. Well, that was their 6 interchange that they used a couple of minutes ago. So with about 27 minutes left in the game at that point, they'd already used 6 changes, so just 2 left for them now, the Newcastle Knights.
Okay, thanks, MC. And spun back here by Nawangani Tawaze from that short drop out, and he gets in the in-goal here. Can he offload? No, he's held up. Nawangani Tawaze on that far side. So
you're looking at potential knock-on, I think, here from Nawangani Tawaze.
I've no try. Just need to get the restart right here. Looking for a knock-on by Mark.
Otherwise it will be play the ball from 10 metres out.
He tried to give a little offload. He was held up. It was a great effort on the short drop out. He charges through a little bit of space.
Lead up to this.
Questions over high contact. I don't know if he actually got to his head.
Marzi was in there with Mr. Sharp. He sort of fends off Marzi
through the body there.
Yep.
Does he lose the ball there as Mooney comes into the tackle? He does try to offload.
Ball comes loose. We just need to see if it hits a Knight at any point, constituting a knock-on.
I think it hits Trey Mooney.
With Chris Butler in the bunker.
That's a loser.
Just assessing all angles.
Maybe not. It's very close.
I don't see anything here that would constitute on that angle a Newcastle Knights touch.
Get out of the way, Ash.
Tries to. Mooney's arm comes up. It's on Monty Tawaze's leg. He regathers. I don't think this will be a knock-on, at least on what we're seeing here.
Based on all the angles we've got available, there's no clear touch on a Newcastle player. Mark now maintains possession.
So we'll come back and play it.
He's held up in the end goal. We have a decision.
So that's how it looks for now. So he'll go back to that 10-metre line and play it now for the Sydney Roosters. 24 points all here. 24 minutes left at a bright and sunny Sydney Football Stadium. Dummy half Toya. Across to Cherry Evans. And now to Fahu. White goes a big fend on. His opposite number in Jacob Safidi. 10 metres out, 20 in from the eastern side. Robson looks open side left to Cherry Evans. Holds it, narrow leads to Walker. They come left-hand side to Desco. He goes himself to Desco. There was a set restart in there as well. And James Tedesco slams it down. He was tackled. Somehow got the arm free for a grounding. And the Roosters go ahead by their captain. 28-24. Kick to come, Roosters. With 17 minutes played this second half so far in Alatau.
Yeah, you're only singing his praises not long ago, Spriggy, and he's shown just there what he's capable of on a shift with the run threat. He gets it again with lots of space. He starts drifting across field. And he just squares up. Dom Young comes in to try and shut it down. You heard the call, as you said, from the referee that it was going to be a 6 again anyway. He doesn't need it, Tedesco. He just shows that strength to carry a number of Newcastle Knights across the line, and then he gets the ball down with the one hand, facing his own goal line. Good effort there from the skipper.
Back to MC on the touchline.
Yeah, how good has James Tedesco been in this second half? He laid on the last try with a nice scrubber. This time it's a sheer strength from the veteran skipper to put his side in the lead for the first time since they scored the opening try of the match.
Yeah, or since the second try they scored with the Savala one. But yes, I know what you're saying. It's since the first half anyway. Sam Walker, 23 out from that northern line. And 13 metres in from the western side. 28-24 as far as it currently stands. Walker is 4 from 4 so far. They traded those first 4 tries of the game, and the Knights had momentum before half-time. It's been all the Roosters since then. 24-12 at the break, and now soon to be potentially 30 points to 24 here. So Walker was 5 out of 6 last week. This is a 5 out of 5. Right foot kick, over it goes. Roosters 30, Newcastle 24 here at the Sydney Football Stadium. You're with Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Michael Carianos. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Off to join Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis and John Gibbs for Parrot and Canterbury next at Western Sydney Stadium. Cameron in Balcombe Hill says, big love to Spriggy Dean and MC. Grandstand always regards. Thank you, Cameron. A big shout out to Reese Northfield. He's a local chicken farmer. Happy birthday today, mate. Big Bird and your crew will meet you down at the local for a few beers tonight. Good on you. Reese and the boys on his birthday. Jared from Majimba here says, loving the call. Can't stand it when people boo at games. Players are giving their all and being booed. Like to see those booing do better. It's funny, it's a very polarising thing, booing. So, I mean, some people certainly believe it's sort of pantomime booing and every game's got villains, but others say there's no place for it. Cherry Evans at dummy half, fires it across to Nafahu White. I think we'll always have booing, as long as it's for the right reasons. 30 points to 24 here. 18 gone, 22 left. Open side left, the Roosters come and find Watson. And he stands in the tackle of Trey Mooney. Play at 5 short of the halfway with a couple left in the set now. Robson has been tireless at dummy half here. Shares it with Tedesco. And the captain is slammed on his back here. 5 minutes inside Newcastle territory. Robson and Cherry Evans to end the set with a high kick down towards that outer edge there for Fletcher Hunt. And he brings it back here into that wall of Butcher, Watson and Robson, and he'll play it 7 metres out from his own line. A first half hat-trick for Fletcher Hunt. I'd love some more points from him in this second 40 as well, the Newcastle Knights. And indeed this man, Dom Young, who's tackled by Crichton, 9 out from his own line. Start of a new set now for the Newcastle Knights. Jacob Safiti only gains half a dozen. Still inside their own 20-metre line here, the Newcastle Knights. Crossland off to Mooney. Angled run attacking Watson. And he'll play at 25 out here. Second last play coming up here for the Newcastle Knights and their captain Safiti. Again, no real gain as he's met by Crichton and Butcher. 15 short of the halfway. His last play comes across to Dylan Brown, kicks from inside 40. It's a straight kick onto the chest of James Tedesco, and the Roosters with a 6-point lead have it with their captain. He crushes the tackle there of Mooney, and Tedesco now will play at 35 out from his own line.
Yeah, well, the momentum is certainly with the Roosters, as we know by the scoreline since half-time, but Newcastle Knights are just really one out at the moment. They're not creating any dents in the defensive line of the Roosters, and as a result, we're seeing a lot of football in front of us and to the left.
So, on halfway here, the Roosters, Robson finds Butcher, and he's claimed in there by Crossland. 40 out centre field. Robson dummy half on second last play. Walker back to Tedesco, who explodes away. Takes on Crossland. Can't offload here. Tedesco is eventually stopped there. Good second effort it was from Crossland and Fletcher Sharp. Dummy half Robson to Walker on this last one. Siwa Wong pushes it back here. It's somehow 6 more Roosters. I think the Knights must have tipped it back away. Ash Klein now saying it's going to be knock on. Newcastle was first. Scrum feed Roosters. 10 metres out from that northern line. The Roosters lead 30 points to 24 here with 19:40 left. Touch on we go. Michael Carianis.
Yeah, Spencer Leonard passed his HIA just back onto the field. So good news for the Roosters as they have all the momentum at the moment.
Shout out to my little mate Sterlo, Central Queensland's #1 salesman and Reece Walsh's #1 fan. Had to work on his 40th birthday. Thank you to that texter. And his birthday shout out for Sterlo. 19 minutes left in the game here. Robson, the base of the scrum. Terry Evans tipped on from Tedesco. Off to Wangani Tawaze, who flies into the corner. And he slams the footy down here. The Wangani Tawaze scores a try. It's more momentum here for the Roosters. 34-24, kick to come for the home side with 19 minutes left. Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, a couple of misses in the first half for Mike Nawonga-Nitawase, but he gets a amount of space here that he can always convert, or he converts most of the time with. Greg Marju comes dashing in to try and put pressure on James Tedesco. Again, the skipper involved. Quick hands out to his right. Gives, as I said, plenty of space to Mark Nawonga-Nitawase. Fletcher Hunt tries his best to get across to come up with another try saver, but the big winger shows that athleticism and strength to get across the line.
It's not a try in the first half, just before half-time due to a foot on the sideline. And this occasion he does take on Fletcher Hunt again and has the room and necessary know-how to slam the football down and score his try. Back to MC on the touchline. Very soon. Sorry, Mick, I'll wait for you after this kick anyway. Around the grounds, by the way, still Central Coast Mariners won A-League over Auckland FC 0 in the second half. Central Coast Mariners win would secure the Premier's plate for the Newcastle Jets in the A-League men. First half New South Wales Cup Rugby League, Roosters 4, Knights 0. Oh no, Clydesdales. South Logan 26, now leads Western Clydesdales 24. There was a big Moz sent earlier, not talking about Josh or Brett, about, they're going for their first win for, nearly 2 years or something, and that looks like it's going to be not the case.
Ever since you mentioned it.
Yeah, here's Sam Walker, 25 out, metre in from the eastern side. For 6 out of 6, make it a 36-24 scoreline in the Sydney Roosters' favour. Hear the kick there on its way. Toughest kick so far today. It's come off the left-hand upright and bounced back in the footed play. So it's his first miss, as he had last week, Walker. 5 out of 6. That's his tally so far this afternoon here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Off we carry on the touchline.
Yeah, just a crowd, Spriggy, 22,409, which is what a NRL official was trying to talk to me while you were crossing before.
Thought you were busy just sort of thrashing out later situations in Georgia Illawarra, which I know there's a big watch on that for you and everyone, so if Michael goes quiet, then maybe there's something brewing. 34-24 as the Roosters lead the Newcastle Knights here. Fletcher Sharp kicks us back off. By the way, it's just gone Newcastle 6, the Roosters 4 in New South Wales Cup. The lower grades. So Butcher brings it back from the kickoff. Get to your text shortly as well. 0467 920 222. As Toya, post-contact gain for him as he takes on Fletcher Hunt. And now he is stopped 7 metres short of halfway. Robson, dummy half, shares it with Spencer Leniu. And the recent hamstring concern, Spencer Leniu, which is his pre-season. And now tackled 40 out centre field. Robson from dummy half. Gains a quick 10 himself. Now inside 30 on play 4. Flat there for Tedesco. Off to Walker. And now Crichton fends off Dylan Brown. Darts back right-hand side, the big back rower. And coming in to make the tackle is Trey Mooney. As Crichton will play it 10 out centre field. Robson comes across now. Cherry Evans on the last play. Little crossfield chip here for the Morning. Tawaze goes up. Competes with Marju. It falls there for Butcher, who can ground the ball. And the Roosters party continues here. Nat Butcher has scored the try. So 5 unanswered tries in this second half. The Sydney Roosters to now lead 38-24. This might just be it. The Knights have to get going and quick.
We talk about sets after points and how crucial it is to get through a completion, get to a nice kick. The Roosters are able to go all the way down the other end of the field and compete an attacking kick, an aerial raid, and Mark Nawonga-Nitawasa is a target from Daly Cherry Evans, and he's a great target at that. He gets right up above. Greg Marju comes forward to do his best to try and stop it, but he can only push the ball out of Nawonga-Nitawasa's hands, and then Nat Butcher's in great position to scoop the ball up, just burrows in a couple of metres over the line to get the try, and yeah, it has been a Roosters-a-thon this second half.
Touchline, Michael Carianis.
It certainly has, and despite 15 and a half minutes remaining, I don't... Ooh, drama.
Hang on, let's have a listen. For his first try since round 6
Ball
of
contacts
last
the
year.
right hand of Mark first, continues to travel forward to Greg Marzu, which is a knock-on.
Okay.
Good to play, we have a decision.
So, scrub the Nat Butcher try, and it will remain 34-24. The Newcastle Knights must take full advantage of this, Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, they just need to get out of their own end of the field. They're looking like they are tired at the moment. They're conceding so many metres defensively. The Roosters are just rolling. They need to find some positive football, try and get to a repeat set where they can, because the only way they're going to get points is through some energy in attack.
Mandy from Ralph, enjoying the call as always, guys. Never doubted my boys. Come on, the Roosters. Ants from Levine. Happy Sunday, Spriggy, Dino and MC. 15 metres out from their own line here, the Newcastle Knights. Not done yet. All of a sudden, 14, 16-point margin versus 10 with 16 minutes left. Oh, it's untidy ball at the back here, mopped up by the Knights. So it was knocked on by Newcastle.
Sorry, I was going to say, Spring, it's a tired effort. This is what happens when when you're on the back foot and you're trying to find those energy reserves from somewhere. It's an offload that probably didn't need to be thrown there by Trey Mooney, and then Peter Holler not expecting it. He reaches, he doesn't move his feet, he's planted, and it's a tired effort which creates the error, and you can see the collective sigh from the rest of the team.
Around the grounds, Queensland Cup second half. Billy Bears 32, North Devils 12. Scrum feed here for the Sydney Roosters. 15 out centre field. Robson comes back right-hand side of the park. Now Cherry Evans runs across Mooney, shares the pass to Savala. Almost footloose his footing there, but he tries to offload. It's left behind. Dylan Brown mops up. In fact, he leaves it behind as well.
I think he's got the ball, and that's dangerous.
Ash Klein penalising the Roosters here. So we'll go Newcastle's way. Explaining to Hugo Savala and now James Tedesco what's going on. They were challenge this earlier, the Roosters.
They like to challenge it. All right, back. We have a captain's challenge here from the Roosters. The ruling is that Dylan Brown, I believe, takes possession and then the ball's kicked out of his hands.
It's Crichton. Yeah, he kicks in danger.
It's fair play for me. He's got possession. If he gets it first, it's play on.
You call it kicking in danger? What do you call it, Rugby? It's actually a... it's just... He just said rough, yeah.
Like it's dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous place, yeah. He does.
You can't kick it.
Dylan Brown's got possession of the ball. Angus Crichton now kicks the ball out of his hands, which is foul play. This overrides any previous foul.
Penalty
Newcastle. The challenge is unsuccessful.
So,
because he takes possession, we can't kick it out of his hands. I know it's tight, but that's the ruling. Let's go.
34-24, the Roosters lead here with 15 minutes left here at the Sydney Football Stadium. That's time to go, Michael Carianis.
Yeah, it was a good call there from Ashley Klein, and he was quite clear in his decision-making, but Angus Crichton told James Tedesco to challenge it, and Tedesco backed Crichton, but unfortunately for the Sydney Roosters, it was a wasted challenge, but this is a big period. They've got to try and find a way to score right now, the Newcastle Knights.
Alex, the train guard from Woodbury, thank you for your text as always. Come on, you mighty Roosters. Keep your texts coming all through the arvo for Maury, Louis and Gibbsy. As this time Croker is tackled by Robson. 40 outs in the field. Newcastle needs some points here. They trail by 10 points. Left edge it comes to Manu Leilua. Play it 5 short of halfway. Crossland dummy half. Back to Shannon Smith on the open side. Now to Safiti, and now Crichton brings him to ground up top, and Nat Butcher down low. Disallowed try for Nat Butcher a short time ago. Keeps the Knights in the game. Gagai steamrolls the ball on that right edge, and now he's still going the veteran Gagai. Play at 25 out and about to 8 in from the western side. Dummy half McEwen. Open side left now for Dylan Brown, who kicks high up in the air. It'll land on the chest of Dom Young. Offloads here into the path of it's Tedesco onto it now, that bouncing ball. And by the time he's tackled by a crossband, he's 32 out from his own line. Dummy half Nat Butcher. He's also brought down by a crossland on that second play. 13:50 left in the game. Roosters 34, Knights 24 here at the Sydney Football Stadium. You're with Brett Sprague, Dean Alatau and Michael Carianis as Robson feeds it back to Victor Radley. So he's back in the action. And tackled now just inside Newcastle territory. Robson, open side right now for Butcher. Gets busy on a straightening run here into Croker and Safiti. Now play at 40 outs in the field. Robson and Cherry Evans to close the set. High right foot kick down that far wing. Fletcher Sharp goes back with the flight here, the fullback. He's behind the goals now. He caught Collins the wrong side of the goal post, and now he's brought down 5 out from his own line here in the field of play.
Yeah, it was. I thought he maybe took it with his foot in the step in the in goal there, Fletcher Sharp. But Ashton Klein obviously said he jumped from the field of play into the in goal and then used the low post well to get out. But once again, the Newcastle Knights starting from a tough position.
Crossland dummy half. They come right hand side now for McEwen. Sabala makes the tackle on him. Also there, Butcher. Crossland here on the second last. 30 in from their own line, out from their own line here, the Newcastle Knights. As Shannon Smith is collected by Siwa Wong. He scored the first try of the game this afternoon. And the Roosters defence just solid here on the Newcastle Knights. Crossland feeds it back now to Dylan Brown, who'll kick from inside 40s. A long way back there, Dylan Brown. Down onto the chest of Daniel Tupou, who trots 40 out from his own line, and he's tackled 5 short of halfway here with 12 minutes left on the clock. It's the Roosters 34, the Newcastle Knights 24. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Savala in a 2-man tackle. Play it now for Robson. Low ball across to Collins. He was placed on report for a dangerous throwing tackle in that first half. Play it 40 out for Robson. And now Radley off to Siwa Wong. Bounced off Shannon Smith, and also in there Croker. 30 out, 20 in, eastern side. Robson across now for Walker. Back on the inside for Radley. Good post-contact game from Victor the Inflictor. Play at 15 out. Robson goes from dummy half. Shoots at Cherry Evans. Dummies the ball here. Wide down along into Waze. He was unmarked. Well, that was DCE magic. He drew the player. There was in fact 2 players around him and none around Martin Wangani Tawaze. So he scores a try to ice the game here for the home side. 38-24, kick to come Roosters. It's been all just the Rooster momentum in this second half. 11 left in the game, Dean Alatau. 38-24, kick to come.
Yeah, really strong run on the last play there prior to last play from Victor Radley. He gets the inside pass, and Sandon Smith scrambling to tackle him around the legs. He comes up with a really quick play the ball as a Newcastle Knights defence once again is still retreating. A number of players offside. Sandon Smith out of play, which is obviously not going to help your structure. Sally Cherevins, he could panic there and try and come up with a little kick in behind or something, which doesn't come off. Instead, he takes his time. He spots the weaknesses. He jumps through the line and passes a nice ball out wide there to find Nwangani Tuase there. And yeah, it's just been the Roosters this whole second half, and the Knights have just run out of steam.
His second try for the game, and in fact, back-to-back tries for Martin Nwangani Tuase here for the Sydney Roosters. Let's head back to MC on the touchline.
It's amazing how contrasting the 40 minutes from both sides have been. The opening 40 minutes, it was a brilliant effort from the Newcastle Knights, where the Roosters looked a little bit scratchy with the footy. Then you flip it in the second half, and the Knights have just been blown off the park. And this is probably what a lot of us anticipated pre-game, given the amount of injuries that the Newcastle Knights had. But they were outstanding in the opening 40. But the class of the Roosters, led by the likes of James Tedesco, have shone through in this second 40.
26 unanswered points since that halftime scoreline, 24-12. So it's been all the Roosters, as Michael Carianis mentioned. Here's Sam Walker, who's 21 metres out here and a few steps in from the eastern touchline to make it 40-24 with still those 10 minutes left. Off to Parramatta and Canterbury up next with Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis and John Gibbs. Here is Walker. Scored a try himself earlier. Lines up the kick, right foot goal kick up, and misses near side. So he's 5 out of 7, and it's the Roosters 38 and Newcastle Knights 24 with those 10 minutes left. Mark says, looks like I spoke too soon as the Roosters have slayed the Knights. Thank you, Mark. I think he was talking about roast chook earlier. Second half Queensland Cup, South Logan Magpies 30 lead Western Clydesdales. In fact, now it's 34-24. Similar score on to this one in the second half there on Western Clydesdales. Billy Bears 32 leads North Devils 20 in the second half. A-League men, still the second half. Central Coast Mariners 1 leads Auckland FC 0. Macarthur FC 1 leads Adelaide 0 in the first half. New South Wales Cup Rugby League, it's Roosters 20 to Knights 6. Back to the AFL, North Melbourne 11 leads Richmond 49, and Melbourne and Brisbane are 25 points all at the MCG in the first quarter. Back underway here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Early in the set here for the Roosters, and Nat Butcher will play it there for Robson. Across to Radley, and he straightens his charge there into Trey Mooney. Play it 6 short of the halfway. Robson again. I mentioned how tireless he's been at dummy half here for the Roosters all game. It comes to Crichton on that left edge, and he's tackled down there by Brown and Gagai. Now Collins explodes away here. The front rower gains a quick 12. Hand in the air from Ref Ashkline for last play 30 out. Collins is down just sort of holding his arm, his left arm or shoulder, I think, is sort of what he's bracing there. As the kick goes across the field there, Mongituaze tapped it back into the path of Manu Leilua. So I'll say that will be a knock-on for the Roosters once more, and they play the ball for the Newcastle Knights, 10 out from their own line.
Yeah, once again, look how far downfield the Roosters get. They're kicking inside the Knights 30. It's an attacking kick once more. So one of their weapons out wide, which just means that the set coming off their own line for the Knights gets even harder. The Roosters have had all the ball in the second half, so their energy levels are high. You can see their line speed. They're getting up 4 or 5 metres and meeting the Newcastle Knights on their runs.
The Roosters will be equal fourth essentially tonight with this win. 8.5 minutes left at the Sydney Footy Stadium. There's a nice tackle bust there from Croker. Got the better of Collins and
the trainers asked the game to be stopped. Tackle 4, the trainer's gone to the touchline.
But the play will be stopped here with Greg Marju in the hands of a trainer.
The trainer asked for the game to be stopped, your trainer.
And so he'll make his way off.
He's got to wait till he goes off.
Harrison Graham will set up there at dummy half as Marzu makes his way off the park. Let's head back to MC on the touchline.
Yeah, Greg Marzu's just gone off that dead ball line, so it's going to force a natural reshuffle here for the Newcastle Knights. We're going to look at exactly how they're going to line up, but Harrison Graham's gone to dummy half and Phoenix Crossland's playing lock at the moment.
Brown ends the set with a kick onto the chest of James Tedesco. And he runs it across that line there. Safiti and back poke got him off that little slide there from Tedesco. 25 out. Cherry Evans back to Nwanganitawaze. And he's on his back. 30 out from his own line. 2 tries. The last 2 tries of the game for Mark Nwanganitawaze. It's 38-24 the Roosters' way with 7:45 left in the game. Off to Para and Canterbury next at Western Sydney Stadium as the Eels, one of the 86 premiership team. Cherry Evans goes off to Rob Toyer. Toyer offloads back to Siwa Wong. Over halfway he goes and can't break that defensive strategy there of Crossland and Graham. Platt 30 out though for Robson. Bradley back on the inside. He dummied the pass here and takes the tackle of Mooney. This will be last play Roosters. 25 out centre field. Robson back to the right this time for Cherry Evans. Flat ball now. Clever pass, flick pass game from Siwa Wong. And now Longitawaze's kick wasn't so clever as it goes off his boot and straight out over the eastern touchline.
He tried to make it too clever there. He's obviously great. Got this whole bag of tricks there, Nwanganitawaze, but tries to sort of kick it around the corner of Fletcher Hunt. So that's been the readjustment. Fletcher Hunt to the wing. It looks like Manu Lua is out in the centres, and then Croker must be playing kind of like a roving edge role.
Tom Young has the ball in hand here, and he's tackled there by Robson and Crichton. Play at 20 out now. Graham goes himself from dummy half. 22,409, the crowd, as Michael Carianos mentioned earlier. This Sunday afternoon at the Sydney Football Stadium. Brown to Sen and Smith. They peel away left-hand side. Now Manu Lua, you mentioned, Dean, is tackled 5 metres short of the halfway for the Newcastle Knights. Open side right here again. Shared to Brown. Swing it right across from left to right. Gagai is tackled down there by Walker. 10 in from the from the western side of the Sydney Football Stadium. Dummy half McEwen to Brown. It's a high spiraling ball up in the air for James Tedesco, who takes the catch cleanly, and he'll be playing at 25 out from his own line at the southern end of the Sydney Football Stadium. Back to MC on the touchline.
Yeah, 7th change for the Roosters. Connor Watson has just returned to the fray with Reece Robson getting an early mark.
Someone's not happy with my kicking and danger thing. No, I was saying, could you refer to it as that in rugby league anyway? Because that's kind of the thing. Give me a spell. Come on. Mike Malonganitawaze. I know it's an AFL term, but it was the same kind of thing. So Tedesco here goes on the fend on Sandon Smith, metre short of the halfway. Cross and waits at marker. Watson's pass, a flat one there to find Radley, and now also in there is Celeste Fiketti, as MC mentioned. So he's the 4th bench player used. Walker. Up it goes, that 10-metre line, and brought away by Fletcher Sharp. 15 out from that northern line. He will play it. Brown waiting behind him with 5 minutes left at the Sydney Football Stadium. Open side left. Oh no, it's spilled down there by Croker. So, shocking Knights error, and this will give Roosters more ball 10 metres out from that Newcastle line.
You can see the frustration there from Croak, obviously playing a little bit out of position there, more wide. He's been great in the middle, as we spoke earlier. He set up that try for Trey Mooney, the hands that he's got, but just a clumsy error. And again, the fatigue is a big reason and a big factor for that.
So, scrum will come here, 20 in from the eastern side, and 13 out from Newcastle's line, northern end. Fed by Malonganitawaze. Watson waits for it. Open side left to Cherry Evans. Skips away with a pass to Walker, and now Crichton steamrolls his way into 3 Newcastle defenders. He's stopped now 5 short of that northern line. Watson comes back open side right here to Radley, and now Fiketti in the white headgear is surrounded there by 4 Newcastle defenders, and I don't fancy there's a grounding there on that northern line from Fiketti. Watson back short side right, Cherry Evans, and it was an awkward ball there on the half volley for Rob Toyer, who fumbles, and it will be Roosters' error. Newcastle scrum now, and this game has sort of lost its vigour, if you like. 38-24, is that the right word? 3:50 left in the contest, although the contest was over a fair time ago. 14 points is the margin, 3.5 minutes left, Dean Hallertau.
Yeah, well, as soon as Newcastle Knights got away from being a chance to win this game, or at least claw their way back, you felt the energy get sapped out of it. And again, I refer, like Spriggy, we've been looking from the 50-metre line only to our left because it's been all Roosters.
Penalty going Newcastle's way here as well. And now a little slow getting up down there is Dylan Brown. There's an upper body issue. He was sort of just clutching his arm. He's okay though, Dylan Brown, as Shannon Smith. With that penalty, finds touch on the western side. So, 40 out from that western line here, on the western touchline, I should say. 7 tries to 4. I'll tap quickly, trying to find the penalty count in the game just before I sort of get things back underway here. But the penalties have been 4-3. The Roosters' way in this game. Now Croker has it. Play it there for Graham. 5 short of the halfway on tackle 3. Left to right they come now as Brown fires it across for Gagai. Swats away Savala, and now tackled by Walker. 40 out, 10 in western side. Midway through the set here with 2:25 left in proceedings here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Mooney stands in the tackle of Radley and Watson. Roosters will have had wins now in 4 of their last 5 starts. Inside ball comes for the Knights in the way of Fletcher Sharp, and he's tackled 30 out, 20 in by Cherry Evans. Harrison Graham, dummy half, off Smith, goes off the outside of the boot with a crafty little kick here behind the goals. Picked off by Radley. Back in the field of play, Victor Radley, despite the tackle coming late from Graham. And the Roosters go back on the attack with a minute 55 left. 38-24 is the Sydney Roosters lead here. Let's head back to MC on the touchline.
A good play there from Victor Radley, just effort areas, which has been all about the Sydney Roosters in this second 40 minutes. He's out on his feet, but he just prevented a set or a goal line dropout at worst for the Roosters.
To Celesi Fiketti, who scored a try last time these sides met, around 15 last year. Siva Wong scored the winning try. It was a much closer affair, 12 points to 8, much slower scoring as well. Comes left-hand side now for the Sydney Roosters. Savala is collared down there by Brown and Gagai. Minute 15 left in the game as the Roosters play at Watson, off to Walker. Now a little kick from Tupou goes out on the full on that western side. So we'll come back here to about the 40-metre line for Newcastle, and it's the Roosters who lead 38 to the Knights 24. Just on that, around the grounds, Newcastle, the Jets, have secured the Premier's plate with that 1-0 Central Coast victory over the Auckland FC. First half, MacArthur FC 1, Adelaide 0. Full-time Queensland Cup, South Logan 34, Western Cross Tales 24 after a very strong start. I think they were 24-0, weren't they? Looking for their first win for a long while in the Queensland Cup. And full-time Willie Bears 38 have beaten North Devils 22. Full-time AFL, North Melbourne 30 leads, or they've beaten Richmond 55. Quarter time, Brisbane and Melbourne are 25 points all. Play underway here at the City of Football. Says they lost by the Newcastle Knights out there, and Fletcher Sharp. So it will be they won't pack this. No, it's only 15 seconds left. So this has just been unbelievable for the Roosters.
Well, maybe they will. One last crack.
No, they don't care. Crowd cheering. 22,000 here, and the Sydney Roosters with a bit of a comeback. The comeback kings last week over the Sharks in Perth, and again a game of two halves. It was seesawing early. The Knights took momentum into the first half or the half-time break, and then 26 unanswered points for Trent Robinson's men to close out the game, 38 points to 24.
Yeah, well, Springer was certainly the old cliche, game of two halves. It was an impressive performance in the first half of the Newcastle Knights. We spoke about their structure and their ability to pick apart, I guess, their game plan. They completed really high. They hit their spots and they were able to capitalise with some points. Obviously, Fletcher Hunt had a huge first half, and it was key on both sides of the ball, attack and defence. Second half, the Roosters just really kicked into gear, and a lot of it is just that momentum they can generate coming out of their own end. Mark Nawaqanitawasa has got really strong kick returns, as does their skipper and James Tedesco, but it gets their sets rolling from the start, and their middle forwards powered through, and they were able to get up there and just score points easily.
So those two late tries to Mark Nawaqanitawasa, and other tries for Siwa Wong, Hugo Savala, Sam Walker. In fact, Savala scored two as well in either half of the game. Tedesco also with a clever try. 7 tries to 4, of which Fletcher Hunt scored all 3 of those tries in the first half. In fact, all of Newcastle's tries did come in the first half. Trey Mooney scored the other one in the 17th minute. Tennant Smith was 4 out of 4. 24-12 the halftime scoreline. Sam Walker finished up 5 out of 7 kicking. 38-24 the full-time score. MC, down to you.
Yeah, just with Roosters back row, Angus Pride and Angus, it was definitely a game of two halves. This one wasn't. You made it hard for you in the first half, but put some points on in that second 40.
Yeah, we've been in a bit of habit of that the last little bit, so disappointing that we leaked that many points, but I think it's pleasing to get the win and also the way we bounced back through that adversity.
How do you try and get that 80-minute complete performance? Because in patches, you guys look amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I think just training it, practicing it, and then executing on the weekend. I think this team's growing every single week, and disappointing we had a few lapses there, but we'll be better for it.
What was that talk like at half-time after that opening 40 minutes?
So we've got to start fast in that second half. I think, we want to be better when we're sort of, we want to be comfortable in those uncomfortable moments, and I think, we've got to be complacent at times there, and just practicing sort of being that pessimistic team that want to keep grinding.
Are you getting much sleep, mate, with the new baby?
Yeah, my wife, she's been going beast mode, so she's been looking after me, and got a good sleep last night, so she's a real MVP.
Congrats on the bub, and well done on the win.
Appreciate it, man.
I love that. Angus Crichton there, a new dad of young Sullivan at home, so a big couple of weeks for him. We'll see if we get some reaction from Newcastle if we can Michael. We're off to Western Sydney Stadium very shortly with Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis and John Gibbs for Parramatta and Canterbury. Down to you, Michael.
Yeah, just with Knights, Hooker, Phoenix, Crossland, Phoenix, the opening 40 minutes was probably the blueprint for you guys to play, and then you fell away in that second 40.
Yeah, it's a game of possession, isn't it? And we didn't have much of the ball in the second half, and I thought we fought hard in the first half. We got a few boys out, so I thought the first 40 was exactly how we want to play with half of our roster there, but second half is probably exactly how we don't want to play, so yeah, not good enough.
What do you take out of it then, considering what you just said? The opening 40 was good, but the second 40 not so much.
I think we just went away from what was working for us. Too many drop ball in the second half. You got to have the ball. There's too many 60 games. The game's too fast. They've done the crazy job with the rules. You can't. It's so hard to win momentum back once you lose. The Roosters didn't have it in the first half, and we didn't have it in the second. And it was a game of two halves. So when the rules are like that, that's what you're going to get. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. We've got to do a better job handling that.
Good luck next week. Thanks for joining us.
Phoenix Crossland there, and next week the Knights host Penrith in the same time slot on Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock kickoff. Hey, Michael, that's all from you, so thank you for that. Just before we let you go and move on to our wrap-up here of the best players and whatnot, but there's a lot of texts coming through about the Shane Flanagan situation. Are we in a holding pattern until Tuesday? What's the latest on the Georgia Illawarra Dragons?
It's a situation that I'm obviously keeping an eye on Spriggy. At the moment, there's nothing formal to report regarding that situation. Obviously, a board meeting on Tuesday. Whether or not it gets that far, I'm not sure. But naturally, Shane Flanagan's under significant pressure.
Thanks, mate. We'll hear from you again next week.
Thank you.
Michael Carianis from the Daily and Sunday Telegraph with us across this big weekend of Rugby League. Round 7, 38-24, the full-time score here in Hallertau. Who are your three best?
1 point, I'm going to Fletcher Hunt for his first half hat-trick, and just the defensive efforts as well. I know it didn't continue on from the second half, but it was a big effort up in the first 40. 2 points, I'm going to go Daly Cherry Evans. Had the ball on a string, some great passes that led to tries, kicks that led to tries, and just kind of conducted things really well, the veteran there. And then for 1 point, got to go to the skipper, James Tedesco. What a huge performance from him, and he just kept going up and up as the game required. 258 running metres from the fullback, 3 line break assist, 3 try assists. He was head and shoulders the best player on the field.
3 Tedesco, 2 Cherry Evans, 1 Fletcher Hunt, and the ABC Player of the Year, of course, James Tedesco, the reigning both Dally M and ABC Player of the Year last year. Penalty count finished up for what it's worth. 4-3, as I mentioned, the Roosters' way. There were 4 set restarts each. Lindsay Collins on report for a dangerous throw. The tackle on Matt Croker in the first half, and the Roosters keep that run of now their last 5 wins against Newcastle and 9 of the past 10. Despite that strong first half showing, the Newcastle want to give up 26 unanswered points in the end to lose 38-24. Around the grounds quickly, New South Wales Cup second half, Roosters 20, Knights 6, and in the AFL second term underway there, Brisbane 31 leads Melbourne 25. Next week, the Roosters, of course, have the Dragons on Anzac Day here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Who will the Dragons coach be? Will it be Shane Flanagan? They're still not entirely sure. It feels like a long, long way away as far as that few days for St George Illawarra. As I mentioned, the Knights host Penrith at Hunter Stadium on Sunday in the 2 o'clock game. Thanks, Shop. Thank you, mate. See you next weekend.
Yes, I will.
Thank you to Michael Carianis. Thank you to Dean Hallertau. Thank you to Nathan the Turnbuckle Turnbull on the faders as always here at the SFS, and to Ned Hall in the studio as well. Let's head to Western Sydney Stadium for Parramatta and Canterbury as we say good afternoon once again to Andrew Moore.
Great spread, great atmosphere here at Western Sydney Stadium, and the Parramatta Eels 1986 premiers forming the tunnel for the players to run through. Brett Kenny down there. We saw Peter Sterling up in the box a little bit earlier. He's down there at the back of the queue, so to speak, down there on the field of play. And great to see. There's Eric Gross Senior as well, and Coach John Money is down there also from that Parramatta team in 1986. That defeated Canterbury in the grand final 4 points to 2, as for a number of years these two clubs dominated rugby league in this part of the world, but Parramatta has not won the title since. Luke Lewis, good afternoon to you. I doubt they're going to win it this year. They come into this game second last and with a very depleted side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very hard for them to win it this year, but you never know in this great game of rugby league. It could only take one day and one game to turn everything around, but it's going to be a tough one this afternoon for Parramatta. But they have got a good crowd, like you said, building here. That could get them across the line, I don't know, but it looks really good out there this afternoon. The Bulldogs played outstanding last week. I reckon they're going to come in with a real good attitude about how they're going to start this game. So it's going to be a big start by both sides.
Now the team news, Sean Russell out for Parramatta. Arrows Nanvar comes in jersey number 19. First time we've seen him. Dylan Walker, the lock to the bench, and Jack DeBellin will start in the lock position in jersey number 16. The bench is so interesting for Parramatta. Talon De Silva, Sexton Pryke, who's a former Canberra Raider front rower, Dylan Walker, Tony Mattielli, then we've got Tianka Brown and Lorenzo Talataina. That is the bench for Parramatta. For Canterbury, centre Anari Tuala is out. Josh Curran, normally a forward, will play in the centres in jersey 21, trying to dig into his innermost Simi Sasangi, I'd imagine. Leo Thompson, former Knight, plays his first game for Canterbury Bankstown, having recovered from injury. Referee Liam Kennedy, Grant Atkins in the bunker. John Gibbs has made his way down to the touchline. Gibbsy, what a beautiful day it is.
Yeah, it is, Andrew. No doubt about that. Good afternoon to everyone, and it's great to have a chat to a lot of the old 86 premiership winning players that are here, and they're all excited, and hopefully Parramatta can do them proud this afternoon. But it's 20 degrees down here. This field it's okay. It's a lot better than it was just last week. We were here last Sunday, but 20 degrees feels like 15. Not much breeze getting in there though. It feels ideal for rugby league, so it's going to be a great game. And just on a couple of those players quickly, Andrew. Saxon Pryke and Lorenzo Talataina will be making their debuts if they get on. Now, Tony Mattielli and Araz Nambar, they've played one game. Those four players, this is quite incredible when you talk about junior rugby league, all come from the Rouse Hill Rhinos. So four of them could be on the field today, all representing the Rouse Hill Rhinos. So I bet you there's a lot of Rouse Hill people here today.
Yeah, isn't that incredible? Fantastic. Big shout out to the Rouse Hill Rhinos. As I'm looking down to the field of play, the great Michael Cronin down there, Peter Wynn, who's been taking some footage of everybody, John Muggleton, who was the Parramatta second rower, who played for Australia. John Muggleton was a really, really good player. And is that TC down there, Tony Chalmers as well? He played on the wing for Parramatta in that particular era. Some Parramatta legends here at Western Sydney Stadium, and we'll see if this current Parramatta team can find something from the legacy of that brilliant side in 1986. Here come the Bulldogs. Fullback Connor Tracy, wingers are Jacob Carraz and Marcelo Montoya, setters Josh Curran and Bronson Sherry, 5'8" Matt Burton, halfback Lockie Galvin, the lock, Jamin Salmon, second rowers Jacob Preston and Billy Army Kickow, front rowers are Leo Thompson and Sam Hughes, the hooker Bailey Hayward, and the bench Kurt Mans, Tilly Tumanua, Harry Hayes, Jake Turpin, Jonathan Sewer, and Lipoy Hotboy, the coach Cameron Serraldo, and here come the Eels, led out by Mitch Moses, the fullback Joash Papali, the wingers are Brian Kelly and Josh Addo-Carr, who has scored 11 tries in his last 8 games at this venue. The setters are Will Bensony and Arrows Nanvar, 5'8" Ronald Boltman, halfback Mitch Moses, the lock Jack DeBellin, second rowers are Jack Williams and Charlie Geimer, front rowers Junior Barlaw and Luca Moretti, the hooker Riley Smith, and the bench Talon De Silva, Saxon Pryke, Dylan Walker, Tony Mattielli, Tianka Brown, and Talataina is the other player to come in, Lorenzo Talataina, the coach Jason Riles, referee Liam Kennedy, touch judges Kieran Irons and John Stone, and Grant Atkins in the bunker. All right, we're about to get underway. Sunday afternoon rugby league here on NRL Sunday after the Roosters 38-24 win over Newcastle. Liam Kennedy waiting for the word to get us underway.